Hello there, and welcome to this peaceful journey through the wonders of the ocean. Tonight, we'll be diving into the most serene and mysterious parts of our planet's vast, unexplored world, the deep ocean. As the waves gently lap at the shore and the ocean stretches into infinity before you, imagine yourself floating peacefully on the surface, surrounded by the quiet of the deep blue. The world around you is calm, the sounds soft, as the ocean invites you into its depth, away from the rush and bustle of everyday life. The ocean is not just a body of water, it is a quiet, mysterious world, full of creatures that glow in the dark, landscapes that stretch further than we can fathom, and secrets that have remained hidden for millennia. Here, there is no hurry, no stress, just a peaceful, soothing embrace that lulls you deeper into wonder. What lies beneath the surface is still largely a mystery. The ocean is a vast and unexplored place, with more than asterisk 80% of it remaining unseen by human eyes. It's easy to imagine the ocean as a tranquil and expansive body of water, an endless blue stretching from horizon to horizon. But beneath the surface, there exists a world that we are only beginning to understand. It is a world so deep, so vast, that much of it still remains untouched by human curiosity. Imagine floating just beneath the waves, surrounded by nothing but endless water. The light above slowly fades as you descend deeper, and the water becomes colder, the pressure stronger, and the silence profound. In the deep ocean, the usual noise and chaos of the world above disappear. Instead, there is a profound sense of quiet, a kind of peaceful solitude that is hard to find elsewhere. This quietness is not emptiness. It is a world filled with life in forms that seem to exist in their own realm, untouched by the fast pace of the world above. The deep ocean is not just an ordinary place. It is home to some of the most extraordinary phenomena, from creatures that glow in the dark to underwater mountains that rise higher than any mountain on land. There are places in the ocean where life thrives in complete darkness, where the only light is the faint glow of bioluminescence or the occasional flash of a distant, mysterious creature. It's a world that seems to exist outside of time, a peaceful refuge that is both incredibly calming and full of wonder. But what really lies beneath, what is hidden deep within the ocean's immense expanse that we have yet to uncover? The ocean's depths are so vast and unknown that every new discovery feels like a step into uncharted territory, a step into a world we are only beginning to understand. In fact, many of the ocean's deepest secrets have remained elusive for centuries, despite our growing technological abilities. Even with powerful sonar equipment, submersibles, and advanced cameras, we have only scratched the surface of this watery world. The ocean is a reminder of how much we still have to learn. It is a mysterious sanctuary, one that offers both awe and serenity. It tells us that not all mysteries need to be solved immediately, that sometimes the greatest sense of wonder comes from simply knowing that there is much left to explore. As you listen to the gentle waves of the ocean, imagine drifting down into its depths, where the world is bathed in the softest shades of blue and the air is thick with peace. Perhaps, in the quiet of the deep ocean, we find the space to slow down and reflect. Here, there is no rush, no urgency, just the feeling of floating in a vast, beautiful world where time seems to stretch out forever. What lies beneath the surface may not always be clear, but that is what makes it so fascinating, so endlessly inviting. And as we continue this peaceful journey through the ocean's mysteries, let us hold on to the feeling of calmness it evokes. For in the deep ocean, there is no hurry, just the endless unfolding of the wonders that lie waiting. As you drift deeper into the ocean's embrace, the light above slowly fades into shadows, and you find yourself surrounded by an unfathomable expanse of water. The silence is almost overwhelming, the kind of quiet that feels as if the world itself is holding its breath. It is a peaceful stillness, yet full of life in a way that's hard to fully comprehend. The deep ocean is not just a dark abyss, it is a mighty undiscovered world chock full of creatures and landscapes that remain hidden from view. Beneath the waves, life continues in ways that seem almost magical, in a place where the laws of nature operate differently than we experience them above. Fitting mountains, taller than the Himalayas, arise from the ocean floor, while volcanic activity creates new landscapes completely untouched by human hands. The ocean's 50 mysterious trenches, like the 13 Mariana Trench, are some of the deepest and most enigmatic places on Earth. At nearly *36,000 feet deep, the Mariana Trench could fit Mount Everest and still leave plenty of room to spare. Yet, despite its incredible depth and scale, this region of the ocean remains largely a mystery. It is as if this place exists on the very edge of reality itself, too deep for light to reach and too far from the surface for us to fully comprehend. The pressure here is unimaginable, **1,000 times greater than at sea level, and the temperature just above freezing would make it impossible for most life forms to survive. Yet, despite these extreme conditions, life thrives in a way that defies all expectations. In this uncharted world, nature has found ways to adapt and flourish. Creatures that live in these extreme depths have evolved with the ability to endure the crushing pressure, the frigid cold, and the complete absence of sunlight. Anglerfish with their glowing lures, giant squid, whose movements are almost ghostly in their elegance, and bioluminescent jellyfish, whose soft glow lights up the darkness, all survive in these profound depths. Their beauty and mystery a reminder of the ocean's enduring enigma. The ocean's deep regions are often described as a new frontier for exploration, vast and unknown, full of potential discoveries. Despite advances in technology, much of this world remains unexplored. Sonar mapping, deep-sea submersibles, and underwater drones have revealed only a fraction of the secrets that lie beneath the surface. We may have charted some of the ocean as more accessible areas, but vast regions still elude us, as if the ocean itself is keeping its most precious secrets to itself. But there is something calming about knowing that so much of the world remains a mystery, untouched and unspoiled. Perhaps it is because the ocean, with its quiet vastness, is a place that reminds us of the beauty of discovery, the peace that comes with the unknown. There is no rush to uncover it all at once, no need to force answers to questions that have existed for millennia. The ocean, with its soft, rhythmic tides and unexplored depths, invites us to simply float along with it, to exist in its mystery without needing to solve it. In the quietest depths of the ocean, nature's most profound wonders remain hidden, not for us to conquer, but for us to reflect upon too. As you continue to drift through the peaceful waters, think of the creatures that live far below and the mysteries that are still waiting to be discovered. Every corner of the deep ocean holds a secret, and every discovery, however small, feels like a gentle reminder of how vast, beautiful, and calming the world beneath the waves truly is. As we continue to drift deeper into the ocean's vast, quiet world, it's easy to forget that beneath this tranquil surface, the ocean is playing a crucial role in regulating our planet's climate. The deep ocean is not just a passive body of water, it is the very heartbeat of the Earth, controlling the flow of heat, nutrients, and even the weather patterns that affect every corner of the world. Imagine the ocean as a vast, interconnected system, a giant engine that helps to regulate the planet's nutrient balance. The deep ocean currents, which flow beneath the surface, move slowly but relentlessly, circulating warm and cold water across the globe. These currents are driven by the sun's energy, but they also rely on the salinity and temperature differences in the water itself. As warm water from the equator flows toward the poles, it cools and sinks, and cold water from the poles rises to take its place. This process, known as the global conveyor belt, helps to transport heat around the planet and plays a critical role in regulating Earth's climate. The ocean acts like a giant heat sink, absorbing vast amounts of the sun's energy. In fact, the ocean absorbs about 90% of the heat trapped by greenhouse gases. This means that the ocean is essential in keeping the Earth's surface temperature from rising too quickly. Without the ocean's ability to store and release heat, the planet would experience much more extreme temperature fluctuations, making life as we know it nearly impossible. But the ocean's influence on climate goes beyond simply absorbing heat. It is also responsible for much of the planet's carbon storage. When carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere, a significant portion of it is absorbed by the ocean's surface. Some of this carbon is then transported to the depths of the ocean through a process called the biological pump P, where it can remain stored for centuries. In this way, the ocean helps to regulate the levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, playing an essential role in controlling the global carbon cycle. Yet, despite its importance, the ocean is not invincible. As the world's climate continues to warm, the ocean is beginning to show signs of strain. The rising temperatures are causing ocean acidification, which affects marine life and disrupts the delicate balance of the ocean. In addition, rising sea levels are threatening coastal communities and altering the very landscape of our planet. While the ocean continues to play a critical role in regulating the Earth's climate, it is clear that these changes are beginning to take their toll. As you imagine yourself floating in the peaceful expanse of the deep ocean, it is awe-inspiring to think about the immense power the ocean holds, quietly working beneath the surface to keep our planet in balance. In the same way the ocean regulates the Earth's temperature, it also creates a sense of balance within us. There is something profoundly calming about knowing that the ocean, in all its vastness, is constantly working to keep everything in harmony. Just as the ocean's currents flow tirelessly, shaping the climate and supporting life, so too does the gentle rhythm of the sea invite us to slow down, breathe deeply, and find peace. It reminds us that, even in the most tumultuous of times, there are forces of nature that are quietly, steadily working in the background to maintain balance. Perhaps, in this quiet balance, we can also find our own sense of peace, a steady rhythmic flow, like the ocean itself. As we gently float further into the depths of the ocean, it's impossible to ignore the profound sense of wonder that it inspires. The more we learn about the ocean, the more we realize how little we truly know. Despite centuries of exploration and technological advancements, the vast majority of the ocean remains a mystery, a secret world that continues to elude us, waiting patiently to be uncovered. It's a humbling thought, isn't it? That such an enormous part of our planet could still be so largely unknown. We've mapped only a fraction of the ocean's floor, and most of the ocean's life forms have never been seen by human eyes. Even the ocean's depths, which stretch far beyond the reach of light, hold creatures and landscapes that are as mysterious as they are beautiful. In many ways, the ocean's uncharted territories reflect our own thirst for discovery. There is always more to learn, more to understand, and more to explore. But there's something peaceful about this uncertainty. In a world that often feels like it's moving too fast, the ocean invites us to slow down and appreciate the unknown. The mysteries of the deep aren't something to fear. They are simply part of the journey. As we continue to learn more about the ocean, we uncover new wonders and gain a deeper appreciation for the complexity and beauty of life beneath the waves. Take a moment to consider this. What we do know about the ocean is already extraordinary. From the beautiful glowing creatures of the deep to the ancient, submerged mountain ranges that stretch for miles, the ocean is a place of awe-inspiring beauty and serenity. Yet, the more we explore, the more we discover that there is always another layer, another mystery waiting to be uncovered. Each dive into the deep reveals something new, something that reminds us how much more there is to discover. In this way, the ocean serves as a reminder that there's beauty in the unknown. It teaches us that there's no rush to uncover all the answers. Sometimes the most important discoveries aren't the ones we make with our minds, but the ones we make with our hearts. The ocean doesn't ask us to solve its mysteries right away. It simply asks us to observe, reflect, and appreciate its vastness, to let its calmness wash over us, to take in the quiet peace that it offers. As we reflect on the ocean's immense power and quiet beauty, think about how much we still have to learn. The deep ocean with its tranquil mysteries continues to beckon us, not with urgency, but with an invitation to explore at our own pace, to discover more while never losing sight of the peace it offers. With each new discovery, we are reminded of how much there still is to explore, and how, in the process, we become more connected to the world around us. Now, as this chapter comes to a close, let's remember that the ocean's depths hold more than just mystery. Perhaps in that very unknown we find the peace we so often seek. So, as we continue our journey through the peaceful mysteries of the ocean, let us carry with us the sense of awe and tranquility that the deep blue invites us to embrace. As we move from the mysteries of the deep ocean to its inhabitants, we encounter some of the most serene and majestic creatures in the world, the whales. These gentle giants glide gracefully through the water, their slow movements evoking a sense of peace and wonder. Their songs, echoing through the vast ocean, are one of the most soothing sounds on Earth. Imagine drifting in the vast expanse of the ocean, surrounded by the rhythmic sound of a whale's song. It's as if the entire ocean is singing in unison, and you are gently carried along by its melody. The songs of whales are not just beautiful, they are a form of communication, a way for these magnificent creatures to connect with one another across vast distances. Each song is unique, filled with meaning and emotion, yet they all share a common thread, a sense of calm, a sense of connection. Whales are not only the largest creatures on the planet, but they also have a profound way of moving through the world, quietly, peacefully, with a sense of grace that is unparalleled. Their gentle movements remind us of the importance of slowing down, of finding moments of peace in the midst of our busy lives. The humpback whale, for example, is known for its civied, complex songs. These can last for hours and travel hundreds of miles through the water. These songs are thought to play a role in communication, mating, and even navigating through the vast ocean. The beauty of their songs is matched only by the majesty of their presence. These creatures are often seen swimming in groups seen called pods, where they care for one another and move in unison. Their behavior reflects a deep sense of community, reinforcing the idea that there is peace in togetherness. The way whales move together, with fluid grace, brings a sense of harmony to the ocean's often turbulent waters. It's a reminder that despite the size of the ocean and the challenges it presents, there is a profound sense of balance and peace to be found within it. In the quiet depths of the ocean, whales serve as living reminders of the beauty of slow, deliberate movement. Their songs and behaviors invite us to relax, to breathe, and to appreciate the wonder of simply being present in the world around us. As we continue to drift through the peaceful waters of the ocean, let the image of the majestic whale remind us that there is calm in movement and grace in stillness. Imagine yourself floating in the calm waters of the ocean, surrounded by the soft glow of bioluminescent creatures. As you gaze beneath the surface, a graceful figure catches your eye, a jellyfish, its translucent bell gently pulsing as it drifts effortlessly through the water. The movement is slow, deliberate, and mesmerizing, almost as if time itself has slowed down. There's something hypnotic about the way jellyfish move, their soft, flowing bodies gliding in perfect harmony with the water around them. Jellyfish are among the oldest living creatures on Earth, having existed for over * 500 million years, predating even the dinosaurs. Yet, despite their ancient lineage, they embody a simplicity and elegance that feels timeless. Their though delicate body cedars are made up mostly of water, with a translucent, gelatinous consistency that allows them to blend seamlessly with the ocean. As they drift through the water, their slow, rhythmic pulses create a sense of tranquility that seems to stretch time. It's as if the world around you fades away and all that remains is the soft undulation of the jellyfish's body, moving with the current in a peaceful, graceful dance. One of the most fascinating aspects of jellyfish is their twin bioluminescence, the ability to produce light in the dark. While many jellyfish glow faintly, some species produce brilliant, glowing patterns that light up the surrounding water, creating a mesmerizing spectacle. These glowing creatures add an element of magic to the ocean, turning the darkness into a canvas of soft, radiant colors. For those who are lucky enough to witness it, the sight of glowing jellyfish floating peacefully in the deep ocean is like a dream come to life. Otherworldly, yet profoundly peaceful. Jellyfish are not just beautiful to behold. They are also masters of the art of stillness. Despite being propelled by ocean currents, they seem to move with a purpose, their delicate bodies gliding through the water in a slow and controlled rhythm. Their lack of a central brain or complex nervous system means they rely on instinct and simple reflexes to guide their movements, adding to their serene, almost meditative quality. In many ways, jellyfish are the embodiment of calm, silent, peaceful, and unhurried. As you continue to float alongside these gentle creatures, imagine the calming effect of their movements. The jellyfish's gentle pulse, their soft, glowing light, and their ability to drift effortlessly with the currents. create a sense of peace that is hard to replicate anywhere else. There's no rush in their world, no sense of urgency, only the quiet, rhythmic ebb and flow of their movements, and the soothing quiet of the ocean that surrounds them. Jellyfish remind us to slow down, to let go of our need to rush, and to simply exist in the moment. In a world filled with constant motion and noise, the jellyfish teaches us the beauty of quiet stillness and the power of being present. As you envision them floating through the dark waters, let yourself embrace the peace that comes with simply being, without hurry, without expectation, just like the jellyfish gliding through the ocean with ease and grace. As you drift through the calming waters of the ocean, imagine the sight of a sea turtle slowly gliding past you. Its movements are effortless, as if it is simply flowing with the water. With each slow stroke of its flippers, the turtle moves gracefully through the vast, endless blue, undisturbed by the world around it. There's a sense of tranquility in its motion, a peaceful rhythm that seems to embody the very essence of the ocean. Sea turtles have been navigating the oceans for millions of years now, long before humans began to explore the world's seas. Their journeys are remarkable in their own right. Each year, sea turtles embark on incredible migrations, traveling thousands of miles across vast stretches of the ocean to reach nesting sites where they were born. This journey is not rushed or chaotic. Instead, it is a slow and deliberate path that the turtles follow, guided by instinct, the stars, and the Earth's magnetic fields. One of the most peaceful aspects of the sea turtle's journey is its graceful movement through the water. Unlike many other creatures of the ocean, sea turtles are not in a hurry. They move through the currents with a fluidity that feels almost meditative, their powerful flippers gently cutting through the water as they glide along. Their movements are calm, purposeful, and rhythmic, an invitation to relax and let go of any tension. It's as if the turtle knows there's no rush, no reason to hurry through life. It simply moves at its own pace, in harmony with the world around it. During their migrations, sea turtles encounter vast expanses of the ocean, from the warm coastal waters where they nest to the cold, deep waters of the open sea. Yet, no matter where they are, they remain connected to the ocean in a way that feels eternal. The ocean is their home, and it is with them every step of the way, providing them with everything they need: food, shelter, and a sense of belonging. When a sea turtle reaches its nesting site after a long migration, it begins the thine cycle anew. It crawls up the sandy beach, digs a nest, and lays its eggs, continuing the ancient rhythm of life that has existed for centuries. The turtle's calm demeanor throughout this process reminds us that life's most important moments don't need to be rushed or forced. They simply unfold in their own time, naturally and peacefully. Imagine for a moment the feeling of being one with the ocean, just like the sea turtle. There is no urgency in the ocean, no need to hurry. It is a place where you can take your time, where each stroke and each movement feels connected to the rhythm of the sea. The peaceful migration of the sea turtle offers a beautiful reminder of the importance of slowing down first, of allowing life to move at its own pace, and of embracing the serenity that the ocean has to offer. As the turtle continues its journey, we are reminded that we too can glide through life with the same sense of peace and ease. In the company of sea turtles, there is a stillness that invites us to relax, to let go of our worries. As you float alongside this gentle creature, let its graceful movements fill you with a sense of calm, and let the ocean's timeless rhythm guide you toward tranquility. Beneath the soft, dappled light of the ocean's surface, a wide, elegant figure glides silently through the water, a 30-manta ray, its wings moving in slow, sweeping motions like silk in the wind. Watching a manta ray drift through the sea is like witnessing a ballet of calm, deliberate, unhurried, and endlessly graceful. Every movement seems to flow into the next, creating a rhythm so serene, it feels as though the entire ocean moves in harmony with it. Manta rays are among the most peaceful and intelligent creatures in the sea. Their large, triangular fins, sometimes spanning over ** 20 feet across Dini, move with such precision that they barely disturb the water around them. They are known as the gentle giants of the ocean, gliding through the currents with a quiet dignity that commands attention without effort. Despite their size, they are harmless, feeding only on tiny plankton as they drift with the currents. Their calm nature and slow, circular movements give the impression that they are meditating, existing in perfect balance with the sea. There is a mesmerizing beauty in the way manta rays move. Their wings rise and fall in a slow, rhythmic pattern, creating a hypnotic motion that mirrors the steady pulse of the ocean itself. Some people say that watching manta rays is like watching Fudin, the heartbeat of the sea, calm, steady, and full of quiet life. Divers who are lucky enough to encounter them often describe the experience as spiritual. The manta ray doesn't flee or panic. It simply glides, acknowledging the world around it with stillness and grace. In its presence, even the ocean seems to slow down, as if pausing to admire its elegance. What makes manta rays truly fascinating is not just their grace, but their sooty gentle intelligence. Side studies have shown that these creatures can recognize themselves in mirrors, a rare trait shared only by a few highly intelligent species, such as dolphins, elephants, and great apes. This ability suggests that manta rays possess a sense of self awareness, a quiet consciousness that adds another layer of wonder to their already mysterious nature. They are not just moving through the ocean, they are aware of it, and perhaps even aware of us. As the manta ray glides effortlessly through the water, it leaves behind no disruption, no wake, only peace. It is as if it understands the ocean's rhythm completely, moving not against it, but with it. In its movement, we can find a reflection of our own need for balance, a reminder that true peace often comes not from resisting the world around us, but from flowing with it. Watching a manta ray drift by reminds us that there is a quiet power in stillness, and that grace can exist even in the slowest of motions. So as you imagine yourself floating in the blue expanse, picture the manta ray moving calmly beside you, its wide fins rising and falling like gentle waves. Let its rhythm guide your breathing, slow, deep, and peaceful. The manta ray teaches us that tranquility is not something to be sought in haste, but something that emerges naturally when we move with intention, when we let ourselves become one with the quiet flow of life itself. As this chapter closes, the ocean invites you to carry the manta ray's stillness within you, to breathe with the tides, to flow with the current, and to find peace in movement. For in the manta's slow, graceful dance lies the ocean's greatest lesson. Find that serenity comes when we simply let ourselves drift. Far out in the Atlantic Ocean, between the points of Findi, Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, lies a stretch of sea that has captured human imagination for generations. They call it Findi, the Bermuda Triangle, a place whispered about in stories, books, and films. For centuries, sailors have spoken of ships that vanished without a trace and pilots who entered the skies above these waters, only to disappear from radar entirely. Yet, beneath the stories and speculation, the Bermuda Triangle remains what it has always been, a region of quiet mystery surrounded by calm blue waters. If you were to stand on the deck of a ship within its boundaries, you would see anything unusual. The sea would stretch out endlessly around you, gentle waves reflecting the soft sunlight. The air would be warm, the sky serene. It's hard to imagine that such a tranquil place could inspire so many tales of mystery. And yet, perhaps that's what makes it so fascinating, the contrast between its calm beauty and the legends that surround it. The term *** Bermuda Triangle ** was first popularized in the 20th century, when a series of unexplained disappearances began to capture public attention. Among the most well-known stories is that of Findi Flight 19 ***, a group of U.S. Navy bombers that vanished during a routine training mission in 1945. Despite extensive searches, no trace of the aircraft or their crew was ever found. Over the years, similar tales followed: ships that lost communication, aircraft that veered off course, and weather events that appeared suddenly, only to vanish just as quickly. For some, these stories painted the Bermuda Triangle as a place of danger or supernatural power. But science offers quieter, more grounded explanations. The region sits in an area prone to strong currents, in rapidly changing weather, and magnetic anomalies that can interfere with navigation instruments. Warm and cold ocean currents collide here, creating sudden storms and unpredictable turbulence. that can challenge even the most skilled sailors and pilots. And yet, despite these explanations, the Bermuda Triangle continues to capture the imagination, not because it is frightening, but because it reminds us how vast and untamed our planet still is. The ocean, even with all our technology and exploration, still holds places that feel unknown, mysterious, and beyond full understanding. As the waves roll softly across the surface of the Atlantic, the Bermuda Triangle invites us to reflect not on fear, but on wonder. What is it about the unknown that draws us in? Why do we find beauty in mystery? Perhaps because deep down we recognize that mystery is part of life, that even in the most tranquil waters, there are questions that may never need answers. So as we begin to explore this region, let us drift through the triangle, serene waters, and allow its quiet mysteries to remind us that not everything needs to be fully explained. Some things, like the ocean itself, are most beautiful when they simply remain a mystery. When we look closely at the Bermuda Triangle, the mystery begins to take on a more grounded, fascinating shape. The stories of vanishing ships and planes may sound supernatural, but many of them can be explained through the quiet, complex beauty of the science sea. The ocean, after all, is not still. It is alive, constantly moving, shifting, and changing. And the Bermuda Triangle sits at the crossroads of many of those movements. One of the most powerful forces at play here is the Quindy Gulf Stream, a vast, warm ocean current that flows northward from the Gulf of Mexico into the Atlantic. This current is incredibly strong, capable of moving at speeds of up to 4 miles per hour. When a small boat or piece of debris enters its flow, it can be carried hundreds of miles away within days. This means that when ships once vanished in the Bermuda Triangle, their remains could have been swept far from their original course, not by anything mysterious, but simply by the quiet strength of the sea. Then there is the fluid weather. The Bermuda Triangle is known for sudden changes in climate. Calm skies can turn to storms within moments. Warm tropical air meets cooler currents from the north, creating powerful thunderstorms, and even water spouts that can rise hundreds of feet above the surface. These natural forces can disorient pilots, disrupt communication, and make navigation extremely difficult. Before modern radar and weather prediction tools, sailors and aviators often had little warning before finding themselves surrounded by fierce winds and blinding rain. Another possible explanation lies beneath the surface itself. Scientists have discovered that the seafloor in this region contains deposits of southern dimethane hydrate, frozen gas trapped beneath layers of sediment. Occasionally, these deposits can release large bubbles of methane into the water, reducing its density and causing ships to lose buoyancy and sink rapidly. It's a rare event, but in the vast history of the ocean, even rare events can leave lasting legends. And then there's the Foodie magnetic field, one of the most subtle yet intriguing factors of all. The Earth's magnetic field is not uniform, and the Bermuda Triangle lies near one of the few places where Twiddy magnetic, Northudan true, Northian true, Northia line. This can create small navigational anomalies, especially in older compasses, causing sailors to veer slightly off course without realizing it. A few degrees difference over many miles can change a vessel's path entirely. And in the open ocean, that can mean missing land or rescue routes by hundreds of miles. When seen through the calm lens of science, the Bermuda Triangle becomes less a place of fear and more a place of twin natural wonder. It's where some of Earth's most powerful forces, wind, water, magnetism, and gas. The Triangle's reputation for mystery isn't a reflection of danger, but a reminder of how the planet works in intricate, often unpredictable ways. And yet, even with all this knowledge, there's still something mesmerizing about it, isn't there? Something peaceful in knowing that the ocean remains beyond our full control, that nature continues to surprise us in ways we can't entirely predict. The Bermuda Triangle is not a puzzle to be solved, but a space to be respected, a quiet reminder of how vast and alive the Earth truly is. So as you float here, surrounded by calm waters and the gentle rhythm of the sea, imagine the unseen forces moving all around you, currents flowing, winds shifting, and the magnetic field subtly guiding the compass needle north. It's not chaos, it's harmony. The ocean doesn't act with malice or mystery. It's simply Pudiazode existing in its natural rhythm, ancient and serene. Even with science offering clear and gentle explanations, the Bermuda Triangle still captures our imagination. There's something about it, something quiet yet magnetic, that draws us in again and again. It reminds us that the world, even in an age of satellites and maps, still holds places where mystery lingers, softly refusing to be fully explained. Human beings are curious by nature. We have always looked out at the ocean and wondered what lies beyond the horizon. For thousands of years, sailors set out into the unknown, guided only by the stars and their courage. The sea, vast and unpredictable, became a symbol of both discovery and danger, a place where knowledge and mystery intertwined. The Bermuda Triangle sits perfectly at that intersection. It speaks to something ancient within us, the desire to understand what we can't yet see, and the thrill of knowing there are still questions without answers. But perhaps what fascinates us most is that this region, so filled with stories of the unknown, looks so peaceful. On a calm day, the water is clear and blue, the waves rolling gently beneath the sun. There's no sign of the legends whispered about, no storms, no ghosts, no danger. Just a still expanse of beauty. Maybe that's part of the magic, the realization that mystery can live inside calmness. The unknown doesn't always come with fear. Sometimes it comes with a soft, irresistible sense of wonder. When we think of the Bermuda Triangle, we are also reminded of how vast our planet truly is. Even with our technology and exploration, the ocean remains mostly unexplored. More than 80% of it is still untouched, unmapped, and unseen by human eyes. The triangle, then, is not just a single location on a map. It's a symbol of everything we have yet to discover. It's a quiet reminder that mystery still exists in a world that often feels like it's already been explained. Stories of the Bermuda Triangle, told around campfires or whispered on ships, connect us in a shared sense of curiosity. They remind us of our place in the grand story of the Earth. Small travelers crossing an immense, living sea, every legend, every unexplained event becomes a part of that shared story, passed down from one generation to the next. The fascination endures not because we need answers, but because we love the questions themselves. There is peace in mystery. It allows the mind to wander gently, to drift like a current through endless possibilities. It gives us room to dream, to imagine what might be. The Bermuda Triangle, for all its stories, gives us that, a space between knowledge and imagination where we can float without the need to solve anything. So as you imagine those quiet blue waters, stretching endlessly toward the horizon, allow yourself to feel that same curiosity. Let it wash over you, soft and unhurried. There's no rush to find the truth, no urgency to explain. The beauty of the Bermuda Triangle lies not in what we know about it, but in the fact that it still holds secrets. Secrets that whisper quietly through the waves, reminding us that even in the most peaceful places, mystery still lives. And that's what makes the world so endlessly beautiful. As we drift through the calm waters of the Bermuda Triangle, it becomes clear that this region, for all its legends, is not a place of danger, but a place of balance. Beneath the stories and speculation lies something much simpler, much more beautiful, the harmony of nature itself. The triangle's mystery endures not because of what's hidden within it, but because of how quietly and powerfully the ocean works here, shaping the planet in ways we are only beginning to understand. Science, far from diminishing the magic of this place, has given it a quieter kind of wonder. The Thodi Torrents, Sudi Windsey, and Fudi magnetic fields, Sudi the Seria, are not frightening. They are part of the ocean's natural rhythm, its heartbeat. Each ship, each plane, each moment of uncertainty is simply part of the story the sea has been telling since time began. And though we now understand many of the forces that shape this region, the Bermuda Triangle continues to invite curiosity, precisely because the ocean never reveals everything at once. In the gentle flow of its waters, the Bermuda Triangle teaches us something profound about life itself. It reminds us that even the most puzzling mysteries can be approached with calm curiosity, rather than fear. There will always be things we cannot explain completely, but that's what makes the world so endlessly fascinating. The unknown is not an enemy to be conquered. It's a companion that walks beside us, encouraging us to keep exploring, to keep wondering, to stay awake to the beauty of the world. If you imagine standing on the deck of a ship in the heart of the Bermuda Triangle, you might hear only the sound of waves softly tapping against the hull, the distant call of seabirds, and the hum of the wind moving across the open water. Everything feels still. The air is warm, the sea gently shifting beneath your feet. In that moment, there's no mystery to solve, only the quiet realization that you are surrounded by the ancient rhythms of the earth. The sea doesn't keep secrets, it simply holds stories, waiting for those who listen closely enough. And that, perhaps, is the real magic of the Bermuda Triangle. It invites us to listen, to accept that not everything needs to be understood to be appreciated. Just as the ocean moves in its slow, eternal dance, so too does mystery move through our lives, steady, patient, and full of quiet meaning. So as this chapter draws to a close, let yourself float in that feeling. Picture the calm waters of the triangle stretching endlessly around you. The waves are gentle, the air soft and warm. Somewhere beneath you, deep currents are flowing, unseen but constant, guiding the sea just as life's mysteries guide us. For the Bermuda Triangle in all its mystery is not a warning, it is a whisper, a reminder that there is serenity even in what we cannot explain, and that the ocean's greatest secret is simply how beautiful it is to let go and drift with the tide. As the light of day fades and the ocean turns to a deep indigo blue, something extraordinary begins to happen. The water, once dark and still, starts to shimmer with a soft, ethereal glow. Tiny sparks of light dance across the surface, glowing blue and green like stars scattered across the sea. This breathtaking sight is known as Diffidi bioluminescence, SE nature, S quiet light show, performed by the living creatures of the deep. Bioluminescence is the sifi natural ability of living organisms to produce light ifitifitififisind. It happens through a simple yet beautiful chemical reaction when oxygen interacts with a special molecule called fudi luciferin. It creates a gentle glow. Many creatures possess this ability, from tiny plankton floating near the surface to jellyfish, squid, and even certain types of fish living thousands of meters below. To witness it is to see the ocean breathe light, transforming darkness into something magical. For most of us, light is a symbol of life, warmth, and safety. But in the deep ocean, light carries a different meaning. It is a tool for find communication, attraction, and survival. Since sunlight can only reach about 200 meters below the surface, the deeper layers of the ocean exist in near complete darkness. In this vast shadowed world, creatures have evolved to make their own light. Some use it to lure prey closer, others to confuse predators, and some, like the 4D bioluminescent plankton, simply drift in the water, glowing softly as the waves move them, like sparks of life carried by the current. What makes bioluminescence so peaceful is the way it moves. The light doesn't T-flash suddenly or overwhelm the senses. It ebbs and flows with the rhythm of the ocean. When waves crash, the water glows. When a fish swims past, the light ripples gently behind it, fading slowly into the darkness. Each flicker of blue and green feels alive, and yet soothing, a slow, deliberate rhythm that mirrors the calm breathing of the sea itself. There are beaches in the world where this glow can be seen with the naked eye. Places like Fudi Mosquito Bay in Puerto Rico or the Fudi Maldives City, where the shorelines glimmer under moonless skies. People who witness it often describe it as a dream, a moment that feels suspended in time. To stand in that quiet glow with the waves gently brushing against your feet is to feel connected to something ancient, the heartbeat of the ocean itself. In a way, bioluminescence is nature, its reminder that fiti beauty often exists in the dark. Just when the world seems quiet and hidden, life reveals itself in the softest, most unexpected ways. The glow of the sea doesn't shout for attention. It simply shines, quietly, calmly, like a whisper in the night. So, as you imagine the deep ocean glowing softly beneath you, let that image fill you with peace. Picture the water lighting up with every gentle wave, the stars above reflected by the living stars below. The ocean, even in darkness, is never truly dark. It's alive with light, breathing softly through every glowing creature. And as you drift deeper into this calm world of luminescence, you might feel the same quiet truth the ocean already knows, that even in the deepest shadows, there is always a gentle light waiting to be seen. Imagine floating far beneath the surface where sunlight can no longer reach. The world around you is dark, vast, and silent. Then, in the distance, a soft blue light flickers, faint at first, then brighter, spreading like a gentle pulse through the water. You're not alone down here. All around you, Tiny lights begin to shimmer and move, as if the stars themselves have drifted beneath the waves. These are the few glow-in-the-dark creatures of the ocean, beings that have turned darkness into art. Among the most common of these are the few bioluminescent plankton, microscopic drifters that live near the ocean's surface. Though they are small enough to be invisible in daylight, at night they reveal one of nature's most mesmerizing displays. When disturbed by movement, a wave, a passing fish, or even your hand, they light up in brilliant blue, illuminating the water like liquid starlight. Entire stretches of coastline can glow from their presence, turning gentle waves into rolling ribbons of light. It's one of those rare natural wonders that feels otherworldly, and yet it's happening right here, on our own planet. Deeper in the ocean, the firefly squid of Japan performs one of the most beautiful displays of light known to science. These tiny creatures use their glowing blue organs to communicate, attract mates, and confuse predators. Each spring, thousands of them gather near the surface of Toyama Bay, lighting up the waters in a spectacle so peaceful and surreal that locals call it the Sea of Blue Fire. Watching it feels like standing beneath a glowing sky, except this time the stars are below, drifting and pulsing with every gentle wave. Even deeper still, where the world is nearly pitch black, live the sooty lanternfisher and the Suvi deep sea anglerfisher, masters of survival in darkness. The lanternfish uses rows of tiny light-producing organs along its body to blend into the faint glow from above, hiding from predators. The anglerfish, with its glowing lure dangling from its head, patiently waits in the still water, attracting curious prey with its soft light. Its movements are slow, deliberate, a dance of patience in the deep. Each of these creatures uses light differently, but all share a common rhythm, a gentle pulse of life that moves in harmony with the ocean. Their light isn't harsh or blinding, it's calm, deliberate, and deeply organic. It doesn't try to dominate the darkness but coexists with it, transforming the unknown into something beautiful and alive. When you picture these glowing beings drifting quietly through the blackness, it's easy to forget how harsh their world can be. Down here, pressure is immense, temperatures are freezing, and food is scarce. Yet, even in these extremes, life finds a way, not just to survive, but to sunshine. That is the real wonder of bioluminescence. It's proof that even in the most remote corners of existence, beauty persists. As you float through this glowing sea in your imagination, notice how calm it feels. The lights pulse gently around you, moving like a heartbeat, steady, quiet, alive. The darkness no longer feels empty. It feels full of meaning, full of small miracles. The creatures here don't rush. They don't compete. They simply drift, glowing softly, keeping their silent rhythm in a world that has no need for sound. So as you breathe slowly, picture these living lights moving through the water, their soft glow tracing paths through the deep. Let their quiet resilience remind you of your own, that even in darkness, you too have the power to shine softly and beautifully in your own rhythm. As we drift deeper into this glowing world, it becomes clear that every spark of light in the ocean has a purpose. The gentle glow of bioluminescent creatures isn't random. It's a quiet language of survival, a form of communication that has evolved over millions of years. Down here, in the stillness of the deep, light is both life and language. For many creatures, bioluminescence serves as a way to find connection in the vast, dark ocean. The blue flashes of light you see might be a call, a signal to others of the same kind. Some animals use light to attract a mate, creating glowing displays that move like underwater constellations. Others use it to recognize family or coordinate movements in groups. In the darkness, where sight is limited, light becomes the soft voice of the sea, a whisper that says, "I am here." For others, bioluminescence is a tool for fighting protection. The deep ocean can be a dangerous place, and for small creatures, survival often depends on cleverness. Some species produce sudden bursts of light when threatened, dazzling or confusing predators before drifting quietly into the shadows. Others, like the vampire squid, release glowing clouds of blue ink, which linger in the water and mask their escape. These silent defenses happen in complete stillness. No sound, no struggle, just a calm burst of light fading into the dark. Then there are the shoddy hunters, those who use bioluminescence not to hide, but to lure. The anglerfish, one of the ocean's most iconic glowing predators, carries a small luminous lure that dangles in front of its mouth. It doesn't chase or fight. It waits patiently, still and silent, until the faint glow attracts curious prey. In the vast darkness, a single flicker of light is enough to draw life closer. It's a quiet strategy, one that mirrors the slow patience of the ocean itself. Some creatures use their glow for camouflage, blending in with the faint light filtering down from the surface. The lanternfishy, for example, emits just enough light from its underside to match the dim glow above, making its silhouette invisible from below. This subtle trick, called fin counter illumination shoe, allows the fish to disappear completely in the water, a perfect balance between visibility and invisibility. What's remarkable is how peaceful these exchanges of light feel. There's no chaos or urgency in them, only rhythm. The deep ocean communicates through light, the way we breathe through air, softly, continuously, and without effort. Every flicker, every pulse feels deliberate, as though the ocean itself is breathing in sync with its inhabitants. To witness bioluminescence is to see the ocean thinkun, not in words or noise, but in calm, glowing gestures. Each creature contributes to this silent conversation, creating a tapestry of life that's as intelligent as it is beautiful. The light in the water is a message, a pattern, a presence, a reminder that even in silence, there is connection. As you imagine this glowing communication unfolding around you, allow yourself to breathe in that same quiet rhythm. Think of the way the ocean's creatures use their light, not to dominate, but to exist in harmony. Every glow serves a purpose. Every flicker has meaning. And just like them, we too can find peace in subtlety, in quiet expression, in simply shining softly in the space we occupy. So as we drift farther into this world of glowing life, remember that the ocean's light isn't just a spectacle. It's a lesson. Even in darkness, there are ways to connect, to protect, to communicate gently. The ocean reminds us that sometimes the most powerful things in life are the quietest, and that even a small light, moving calmly in the dark, can be enough to illuminate an entire world. Imagine standing by the ocean at night. The sky above you is deep and endless, the stars scattered across it like diamonds on velvet. The waves roll softly against the shore, and as each one breaks, the water lights up, a shimmering line of blue that fades and returns with every breath of the sea. The glow isn't bright or overwhelming, it's gentle like moonlight captured in motion. This is the quiet magic of glowing oceans, the natural wonder that feels like the earth itself is dreaming. In places like the Maldives, Sweetie, Puerto Rico, and Vietnam, people come from around the world to see this phenomenon. When they walk along the beach at night, their footsteps spark trails of light in the wet sand. When they move their hands through the water, the sea glows around them, as if alive and responding to their touch. For a moment, it feels as though the boundary between sky and ocean has disappeared, as though the stars have fallen into the waves. The stillness that follows is profound. People often fall silent, not out of awe alone, but because such beauty doesn't need words. What makes glowing oceans so soothing is their rhythm. The light moves the way we breathe, slowly, naturally, in and out. It doesn't demand attention, it invites it, gently. When you watch the waves glow, your mind starts to slow down, your breathing deepens, and the constant thoughts that fill your day begin to quiet. There's something about seeing light born from darkness that stirs something ancient in us, a reminder that even in the deepest shadows, life is quietly thriving. The creatures responsible for this glow, the tiny bioluminescent plankton, live short, simple lives. They drift where the currents take them, glowing only when the water moves. Their light is their reaction to the world around them, a natural and effortless expression of life. And yet, together, they create one of the most peaceful sights on Earth. There's a lesson hidden in that beauty doesn't have to be loud or lasting or grand to matter. Sometimes it's enough to exist softly, to respond gently to the world, and to leave behind a faint, comforting glow. The glowing ocean is also a mirror of the universe itself. Just as galaxies sparkle in the vastness of space, the sea holds its own constellations below. Each flicker of light beneath the waves is like a star, distant yet alive, shining quietly for a brief moment before fading away. Standing at the edge of a glowing shoreline, you are surrounded by the same pattern above and below, light scattered through infinite darkness. forming the rhythm of existence itself. As you imagine this sight, the waves glowing softly, the night air warm and still, let it bring you calm. Picture yourself walking slowly along the beach, the sea lighting up with every step you take. The only sounds are the soft lapping of water and the distant hum of the wind. With each wave, your thoughts drift farther away, carried off into the deep. Bioluminescence is more than a scientific wonder. It is a reminder of life's quiet persistence. The ocean doesn't glow for attention, it glows because that's what life does. Even in darkness, it shines softly and naturally, in ways that ask nothing and give everything. As you drift into the rhythm of the sea's light, remember, you too are part of that same pattern, a quiet light moving through a vast and beautiful world. And as the ocean glows one last time before fading back into stillness, let that calm linger. Let the image stay with you, the stars above, the sea below, and the gentle, endless glow between them. The world, even in its darkest moments, is always alive with light. Close your eyes for a moment and listen. Truly listen. Beneath the steady hush of waves, beneath the whisper of the wind across the surface, the ocean is never silent. It speaks in soft tones, in murmurs and echoes that stretch across the depths. This is the Fundi Ocean's gentle voice, the language of water and life, constant and calm. If you've ever stood at the shore and listened to the rhythmic roll of waves, you've already heard the heartbeat of the sea. The steady rise and fall of the surf is more than sound. It's vibration, energy, movement that you can feel as much as hear. Scientists have discovered that water carries sound 4 times faster than air, allowing even the faintest noise to travel great distances. Deep beneath the waves, these sounds weave together into a continuous symphony that never stops. The creaking of shifting rocks, the hum of distant currents, the crackle of coral reefs, and the haunting calls of marine creatures. The ocean's voice changes with depth. Near the surface, you might hear the foody soft pop of bubbles rising through the water, or the faint melody of fish communicating in bursts of sound too quiet for human ears. But as you move deeper, the sounds become slower, more drawn out, as if time itself moves differently down there. It's a soundscape of patience. The deeper you go, the quieter the world becomes, until only the low, distant moans of whales echo through the water, ancient, resonant, and impossibly beautiful. For scientists who study the ocean's sound, called fuin bioacousticians, the sea is like a living instrument. They describe coral reefs as rainforests of sound because of their constant activity, the clicking of shrimp, the murmuring of fish, the faint rustle of creatures moving among coral branches. These tiny sounds form a peaceful chorus, one that reminds us that life never truly stops, even when it seems silent. But for those who simply listen, the ocean's voice offers something more than information. It offers calm. The rhythm of the sea has a way of syncing with our own bodies. As you listen to waves rolling in and out, your breathing slows. Your thoughts begin to drift. The constancy of that motion, forward and back, rise and fall, creates a kind of natural meditation. It's no wonder that so many people find peace near the sea. Its sound is both ancient and familiar, like a memory shared by all living things. In the deepest parts of the ocean, where sunlight cannot reach, sound becomes the primary way creatures sense their world. Whales and dolphins use low-frequency calls that can travel hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles through the water, connecting them across vast distances. These calls, slow and mournful, fill the deep with resonance, a music that seems to hold the very weight of the planet within it. The next time you hear the ocean, even if only in your imagination, listen not just with your ears, but with your whole being. Every wave is a breath, every sound a heartbeat. The ocean doesn't need words to speak. It simply exists in rhythm. It hums quietly in the background of life, its song endless and eternal. So as you float in the darkness surrounded by water that moves softly around you, let the ocean's gentle voice become your own. Let it quiet your thoughts, guide your breathing, and remind you that peace doesn't always come from silence. Sometimes it comes from listening. Far below the waves in the stillness of the deep blue, a sound begins to rise, long, low, and resonant. It travels through the darkness, like a voice carried on the breath of the ocean. This is the twin whale's song, one of nature's most mysterious and moving sounds. It's not music as we know it. Yet it has rhythm, melody, and emotion. It's both a communication and a lullaby, a voice that speaks of vast distances and quiet hearts. Whales have been singing to each other for millions of years. Their songs can travel for fine hundreds, even thousands of miles, crossing oceans and connecting individuals separated by entire continents. These sounds are created deep within their massive bodies, resonating through chambers of air and bone, and released into the water where they flow endlessly, echoing across the planet's largest expanse. It's as if the ocean itself is their instrument, carrying their voices in every direction at once. Each whale species has its own pattern of song, unique, deliberate, and filled with meaning. The humpback whale, perhaps the most famous ocean singer, produces complex vocal sequences that can last for hours. Their songs are not random, they have structure and repetition, with phrases that rise and fall like musical compositions. Scientists believe these songs serve multiple purposes: communication, courtship, and perhaps even a way of mapping their surroundings. But what stands out most is that they are fin-shirred whales across the same region will often sing the same song, evolving it slightly over time, as if composing a symphony together. There's something deeply peaceful about the idea of whales singing to one another across thousands of miles of water. Imagine being surrounded by that sound, low, melodic tones drifting through the darkness, slow and patient. These calls move through you more than around you, resonating through your body like a vibration. They're steady, rhythmic, and impossibly calm, the kind of sound that seems to touch something ancient within us, something that recognizes the ocean as home. The whale's song has a frequency that falls within the range of human relaxation. Studies show that the deep, repetitive tones can slow the heart rate and ease the mind, much like the rhythm of waves or a softly beating drum. It's no surprise that many who listen to recordings of whale song describe feeling grounded, as if connected to something timeless. Perhaps this is because, in a way, whales are reminders of endurance. They move through the world slowly, gently, and with purpose, guided by instinct and sound, rather than haste. What makes their music even more extraordinary is its fragility. Each song fades into the distance, absorbed by the water, leaving behind only an echo. Yet somewhere else, another whale hears it, and the melody continues. It's a conversation carried not by words, but by presence, a quiet thread of connection stretching across the sea. As you imagine these great beings drifting through the deep, singing softly to one another, let their rhythm guide your thoughts. Picture the slow rise and fall of their calls, the deep tones resonating through miles of water. Each note is like a breath, long, deliberate, and full of peace. The whales remind us that communication doesn't always require noise or urgency. Sometimes it's enough to simply send out a sound and trust that it will be heard. So, as you float in the still water, imagine the ocean humming around you, the low music of whales echoing through the dark. Their voices are not cries or calls, but songs of continuity, connecting life across time and space. They sing because that's how they exist, slowly, calmly, in harmony with everything around them. Let that idea stay with you. The world, like the whales, is always singing. We only have to quiet ourselves enough to listen. The ocean is alive with sound, not loud, not constant, but layered and infinite. Even in the deepest places, where sunlight cannot reach and pressure crushes anything unprepared for its weight, the sea still hums softly with life. This is the fine soundscape of the deep, a world of quiet vibrations that ripple through the water like heartbeats in slow motion. If you could drift down into this world, deeper and deeper, you would begin to notice how the sounds change. Near the surface, waves crash and bubbles pop. But as you descend, those noises fade away, replaced by a more ancient rhythm. The deep groans of shifting tectonic plates, the faint crackle of hydrothermal vents releasing bursts of heat, the almost imperceptible clicking of tiny shrimp communicating across coral beds. It is a symphony played on the largest stage imaginable, conducted not by hands, but by the laws of nature itself. Scientists who listen to the deep ocean describe it as a place of constant music. They use hydrophones, underwater microphones, to record sounds that travel for thousands of miles. Some of these are known and familiar: whale songs, dolphin clicks, the distant rumble of storms above. But others are still mysterious: low frequency tones, rhythmic pulses, and occasional long, drawn-out moans that seem to have no clear source. These unexplained sounds remind us that even with all our technology, the ocean still holds secrets that whisper just beyond our understanding. What's most beautiful about the deep ocean's soundscape is its Basider balance. Every sound, no matter how small, has its place. The faint rumble of currents blends with the quiet snapping of crustaceans, while the calls of deep sea fish echo through the vastness like distant chimes. The result is not noise, it's harmony, a slow, meditative pulse that seems to breathe in sync with the Earth itself. In 1997, researchers recorded a mysterious sound in the Pacific Ocean, a deep, resonant hum they named asterisk, a bloop. Asterisk, it was unlike anything they had heard before, louder than the call of any known creature, yet organic in nature. For years, no one knew what caused it. Some imagined enormous sea creatures lurking in the dark. Others believed it was the sound of shifting ice or underwater volcanic activity. Eventually, scientists concluded that the sound likely came from icebergs fracturing and melting in the Southern Ocean. But even with that explanation, there's something poetic about it. The idea that the planet itself can sing, that the movement of ice and water can create a melody of its own. The ocean doesn't tease-out its music, it whispers it. Its songs move slowly, patient and eternal. Every sound that echoes through the water, from the faint hum of a current to the distant call of a whale, contributes to the ocean's quiet identity. It's a reminder that nature's most profound expressions are often its softest ones. As you imagine drifting in this world, surrounded by invisible sound, let the thought of this endless, gentle symphony bring you peace. The deep ocean is not silent. It's full of calm conversation, every tone flowing seamlessly into the next. You might not hear it with your ears, but you can feel it, in your heartbeat, in your breathing, in the rhythm of your thoughts as they begin to slow. The soundscape of the deep teaches us something simple, yet powerful. That harmony doesn't always mean sameness. It means coexistence. 1,000 quiet voices blending together to create something larger than themselves. Just as the ocean finds balance in its vastness, we too can find peace by listening closely, by allowing ourselves to become part of the quiet music that surrounds us. So, as you float here in your imagination, far beneath the waves, picture yourself surrounded by this living sound. Deep, steady, and soft. The ocean hums, the earth breathes, and everything feels connected. There is no need for words, no need for understanding. Only the awareness that you are part of something vast and eternal. The ocean song is still being written, and for a moment, it sings just for you. Every symphony has its pause, a moment between notes when the sound fades and only stillness remains. The ocean, too, has its silences. They are rare, fleeting, and impossibly deep. Yet when they happen, they hold more meaning than any sound that came before. In the still moments between waves, the ocean seems to breathe in. The currents slow, the wind softens, and for a heartbeat, everything feels suspended. Divers who have reached great depths often describe this silence as otherworldly. Not empty, but tushy alive in its stillness. It's a silence that hums with unseen motion, a reminder that peace isn't the absence of sound, but the balance between sound and rest. There are places in the ocean where this kind of quiet can stretch for miles. The deep basins, where light and sound fade together, where pressure is immense and movement is rare. Down there, even the calls of whales fade into distant echoes. The silence is not frightening, it is profound. It's the kind of silence that seems to listen back, the kind that makes you aware of your own heartbeat, your own breath, your own smallness in the vast rhythm of existence. Scientists who record the ocean sounds have found that this quiet is never total. There is always something, the faint shifting of water, the distant creak of the seafloor, the whisper of life continuing unseen. Yet compared to the rest of the sea, these places feel timeless. The silence is soft, like a held note that never ends. For marine life, silence carries meaning too. Some creatures fall still during migration, resting between long journeys. Others grow quiet to avoid predators or conserve energy. The ocean itself uses these pauses to reset, to let energy flow, to let sound dissipate, to prepare for the next movement. In its endless song, It's a reminder that even nature needs moments of rest, that creation and quiet are not opposites, but partners in the same rhythm. When you stand by the sea and the waves stop for a moment, when the water seems to flatten and the air holds its breath, that is the ocean's silence. It's not an ending, it's a pause, a moment of grace. It invites you to do the same, to stop thinking, to stop rushing, to let your mind drift like a current without direction. If you listen closely to that silence, you might realize that it's not empty at all. It's full of potential. The same way a blank canvas holds the promise of color, or a quiet night sky holds the stars. The silence of the ocean carries the memory of every sound that came before it, and the promise of every sound yet to come. So, as this chapter draws to a close, imagine yourself suspended in that quiet, floating in a calm, endless sea where no waves break and no voices call. The water is cool and still. You can hear your own breathing, slow and steady. The silence wraps around you like a soft blanket, carrying with it the gentle memory of all the ocean's songs. This is not an ending, it is a resting point. Just as the ocean pauses before its next wave, so too can you. The sea teaches us that even sound needs silence to be complete, that in the spaces between the noise, we find peace. So let yourself drift there a while, in the quiet heart of the ocean. No need to listen, no need to think, just be still. And know that even when the ocean falls silent, it is never truly empty. It is alive, waiting, resting. Just like you. If you could step back in time, not by years or centuries, but by millions of years, you would find an ocean that feels both familiar and strange. The water would move the same way. The tides would still breathe in and out, and the light would still shimmer through the waves. And yet, drifting in those ancient seas would be creatures that looked almost exactly like the ones that swim there today. The ocean is a fun-living time capsule. It holds the history of the Earth within its depths, not written in stone or fossil, but in living, moving forms. While species on land have come and gone, evolved and vanished, many marine creatures have remained almost unchanged for eons. Their presence is like a soft whisper from the past, reminding us that the story of life began here, long before we arrived. One of the most remarkable examples is the horseshoe crab, a creature that has walked the ocean floor for more than * 450 million years, older than dinosaurs, older even than trees. Its armor, like shell and blue blood, have helped it survive countless changes in the planet's climate. Watching it crawl slowly through shallow water, you're seeing the same movement that ancient oceans once knew, a rhythm untouched by time. Then there are the four nautiluses, delicate spiral, shelled creatures that have drifted through the deep for over 40 billion years. Their design is perfect in its simplicity, a spiral-chambered shell that allows them to rise and sink with ease. They've seen the world change around them countless times, yet they remain the same, quiet travelers in the dark, gliding through history without hurry. The fin Greenland shark, one of the most mysterious beings of the sea, is another keeper of time. These slow, moving giants live in the cold waters of the North Atlantic and are thought to live for up to 500 years. The longest lifespan of any known vertebrate. That means some Greenland sharks alive today may have been swimming when Leonardo da Vinci painted, when the first telescopes were built, when the modern world was only beginning to take shape. They drift silently through the cold depths, carrying centuries within them, their every movement a record of time itself. The ocean's oldest residents share one thing in common: stillness. They move slowly, deliberately, without waste or rush. In their patience lies their survival. Where speed and aggression often dominate life on land, the ocean rewards calm endurance. The creatures that have lasted the longest are the ones that flow with time rather than race against it. Imagine standing by the sea and watching the waves roll in. Each wave is new, yet each follows the same rhythm that has existed for billions of years. The water you see today is the same water that once bathed the earliest forms of life, microscopic organisms, drifting in primordial tides. Every drop carries a trace of that history, every current a whisper of what came before. The ocean remembers, not in words, but in patterns, in the way the tides move, in the way ancient creatures still glide through its depths. It holds stories older than mountains, older than memory, older than time itself. As you picture the horseshoe crab crawling across the sand, or the nautilus floating gracefully in the dark, let yourself feel the quiet continuity of the ocean. It doesn't rush toward the future. It carries the past gently within it. And maybe, in that sense, the sea isn't just water. It's the living memory of Earth, breathing softly through the ages. So as you float through this timeless world, imagine yourself not just in the present, but in all of time at once. The waves you hear tonight are the same ones ancient eyes once saw, the same ones that will touch distant shores long after we. In the ocean, everything endures, and everything, eventually, finds its way back to stillness. Deep beneath the shimmering surface beyond the reach of light, live creatures that have outlasted everything else. They are ancient survivors, remnants of Earth's first living chapters, patient witnesses to ice ages, extinctions, and rebirths. In their quiet existence lies a truth. Survival doesn't always belong to the strongest or fastest. Sometimes it belongs to the calmest. One such survivor is the huisenfulacanthov, a fish once thought to be extinct for over 65 million years. It was known only from fossils until 1938, when a living one was discovered off the coast of South Africa. The world was stunned. A living fossil, swimming calmly through the deep. The coelacanth's body moves with a slow, deliberate rhythm, its lobed fins rotating like the limbs of a walking creature. It drifts through dark waters, just as its ancestors did, when dinosaurs roamed the land. It doesn't chase or rush. It simply moves in time with the ocean's quiet flow, unchanged by the passing of eras. Then there is the Phaedia giant clam, another keeper of time, found in the sunlit shallows of tropical seas. These enormous mollusks can live for over a century, remaining in the same spot their entire lives. They open and close slowly, in rhythm with the light, feeding on sunlight and microscopic algae. Their brilliant colors, blues, greens, and golds, shimmer like jewels beneath the surface. Yet they make no sound, no movement beyond what is necessary. In stillness, they thrive. The sea sponge is even older, one of the very first multicellular life forms on Earth, existing for at least 600 million years NIS. Despite its simplicity, it has survived everything from mass extinctions to climate shifts. Sponges have no nervous system, no organs, and yet they filter the water endlessly, cleansing and sustaining their environment. They exist in quiet service to the sea, patient and immovable, like the stones of an underwater temple. Another ancient resident, the Fodi sturgeon, swims slowly through rivers and coastal waters, much as it did during the time of the first mammals. Some species live more than 100 years zestin, their armored bodies sleek and unchanged since prehistoric times. They move with elegance and precision, their slow pace a reflection of survival refined over millions of years. And then, hidden in the deepest darkness, there are the Sundi beeb, sea jellyfish, creatures of delicate beauty that have outlasted continents. Their glowing, translucent bodies drift with the currents, untouched by the chaos of the world above. They reproduce, feed, and live at the pace of the ocean itself, slow, steady, and cyclical. For them, time is not something to race against. It is something to float within. What connects these survivors is not just their age, but their Sufi patient sea they endure because they adapt quietly. They flow with the ocean's rhythm instead of resisting it. In a world where survival is often portrayed as struggle, these beings show us another way. That sometimes, the greatest strength lies in stillness. Imagine the coelacanth gliding slowly through a volcanic trench, or the sea sponge filtering water in the same pattern it has for eons. There is peace in their persistence, beauty in their unchanging form. They remind us that nature does always demand speed or complexity. It rewards harmony, balance, and calm endurance. Perhaps that is why being near the ocean feels so grounding. Its creatures have been here far longer than we have. They move in patterns written before memory, in rhythms that shaped the very idea of life. When we listen to them or simply imagine them drifting through the dark, we connect not just with nature, but with time itself, with the quiet pulse of eternity. So as you float alongside these survivors in your mind, let their calm become yours. The ocean doesn't rush, and neither do they. Their stillness is not emptiness. It is wisdom carried gently through millions of years. In their presence, everything slows. The sea becomes not just water, but time itself, vast, patient, and eternal. When you look at the ocean, you are not just seeing water. You are looking at the oldest living system on Earth, a continuous flow of life that began billions of years ago and has never stopped. Every current, every wave, every heartbeat of the tide is part of a rhythm that has been moving since before there was even a sky. The ocean doesn't just hold life, it holds the thin memory of how life learned to exist. The creatures that have survived since those first beginnings carry that memory within them, not as thoughts or stories, but as instinct. The horseshoe crab, the Phenotila sea, the Phenophilocanthus, they all know what to do without ever needing to be taught. Their wisdom is not intellectual, it's biological. It's written in their very being, a kind of genetic meditation passed down through the ages. In this way, the ocean reminds us that wisdom does not always come from change. Sometimes it comes from frontline continuity. The deep sea has seen mass extinctions, shifting continents, and ice ages that froze the world. Yet its rhythms have stayed constant, slow, deliberate, peaceful. Where land life evolved to run, chase, and compete, the ocean learned to flow, to adapt without rushing, to thrive without conflict. Even the smallest ocean organisms, the plankton drifting with the currents, contribute to this ancient intelligence. Each one captures sunlight, releases oxygen, and nourishes the chain of life. Together, they sustain nearly half the oxygen on Earth, quietly keeping our planet alive. They've been doing this for hundreds of millions of years, long before any human ever took a breath. Their wisdom is simple. They exist in harmony with everything around them. They take only what they need, give back what they can, and move with the current rather than against it. It's easy to think of time as something linear, a line moving forward, one moment after another. But in the ocean, time feels circular. Life there doesn't end and begin in sharp lines. It folds into itself, endlessly renewing. A whale dies and its body becomes a reef of nourishment for countless creatures. Coral breaks and new coral grows upon it. Each ending becomes a beginning. It's a cycle that has never truly been broken, a pattern that mirrors the steady rise and fall of the waves. There's a deep calm in that realization, the understanding that nothing in the ocean hurries, yet everything gets done. The sea's wisdom is not about control, but 2D acceptance. It doesn't resist storms, it absorbs them. It doesn't fight the wind, it moves with it. Over millions of years, this patience has shaped life in its image, fluid, resilient, and unafraid of change. When you listen to the ocean, even from a distance, you can feel that patience. The waves repeat, but they never sound the same. The tide returns, but always a little different. The sea has learned that constancy does not mean stagnation, it means balance. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of the shore, the same kind of shore that existed when the first life forms crawled from the water billions of years ago. The waves that touch your feet have touched every era before you. They have felt the cold of ice ages, the heat of ancient suns, and the stillness of nights that stretched longer than we can imagine. And yet here they are, calm, eternal, familiar. In that moment, you are part of something ageless. The same water that once held the first spark of life now moves around you. The same cycle that carried ancient creatures through the depths now carries your reflection across the surface. The ocean's wisdom isn't spoken, it's felt, a quiet reassurance that everything continues, everything endures, and everything, in time, returns to peace. So as you breathe deeply and listen to the gentle pull of the tide, let that ancient wisdom settle into you. Like the ocean, you don't need to rush to be alive. You don't need to change constantly to grow. Sometimes just existing quietly, patiently, and in rhythm with the world is enough. Time moves differently in the ocean. It doesn't rush forward like it does on land. It swirls and drifts, folding into itself like currents, meeting beneath the waves. Down here, there is no sense of hurry, only rhythm. A slow, steady pulse that connects everything that has ever lived, from the first flicker of life to the creatures drifting quietly today. If you could watch the ocean for 1,000 years, you would see change. Reefs growing and fading, tides shifting, coastlines reshaped. Yet the rhythm would remain the same. It's as though the ocean keeps time not in years or centuries, but in fluty movement seal, like music that never truly ends, only changes its tempo. The sea remembers every note. The creatures that have endured for millions of years, the nautilus, the horseshoe crab, the coelacanth, are living proof of that rhythm. They have mastered the art of being still tea. They don't fight the ocean's flow, they let it carry them. They live in balance with the world, not by resisting change, but by existing peacefully within it. Their stillness is not weakness, it's harmony. In that stillness lies a kind of timelessness that we, as humans, often forget. On land, time feels sharp and fast, a constant ticking, a relentless forward motion. But in the sea, time is gentle. It ebbs and flows like the tide, returning always to where it began. Every wave that breaks upon the shore has been part of countless other waves before it, each one both an ending and a beginning. The ocean doesn't mark time by loss, but by continuity. Perhaps that is the greatest wisdom the sea offers, that stillness is not the absence of motion, but the perfection of it. The ocean is never truly still. Even when it appears calm, unseen currents are moving beneath the surface. Life continues in silence, unhurried but unstoppable. Everything flows at its own pace, and everything eventually returns to balance. When you stand by the water and watch the tide roll in, you are witnessing that eternal balance. The same rhythm that guided ancient creatures still shapes the waves at your feet. The same motion that carried the first spark of life still stirs beneath the moonlight. In that moment, the past and present are not separate. They coexist quietly, within the same breath. Time, in the ocean, is circular. It teaches us that endings are never truly endings, and that patience is its own kind of strength. The deep sea has seen countless worlds rise and fall, yet it continues to move with grace. It accepts change not as chaos, but as part of its story, an endless cycle of creation, rest, and renewal. So as you imagine yourself floating in the vast blue, surrounded by silence and slow-moving light, let yourself feel that same timeless rhythm. Let the noise of the day fade away. There is no need to measure time here, no schedules, no rushing tides, just the steady, eternal heartbeat of the sea, calm, deliberate, infinite. The ocean does not ask you to do anything. It simply invites you to be, to exist within its flow, to feel its patience, to find peace in its stillness, in its endlessness. You can let go of time altogether. You can breathe in the same rhythm as the waves and know that, just like the sea, you are part of something that never truly ends. And as the last light fades beneath the horizon, the ocean continues, vast, unbroken, and eternal. It holds every moment that has ever been, every creature that has ever lived, every breath that has ever been taken. Time passes above it, but within it, everything simply fluity. Far from the warmth of the tropics, where the world narrows into endless white, the ocean hides a secret world beneath its frozen skin. The ice above stretches for miles, forming a ceiling that moves and creaks with the slow breath of the earth. Yet below that frozen surface lies one of the most mysterious and peaceful places on the planet, the Fiti Polar Ocean, a realm of quiet endurance and fragile beauty. It's easy to think of the Arctic and Antarctic seas as empty, lifeless places, too cold, too dark, too harsh to sustain anything. But the truth is quite the opposite. Beneath the ice, the water is alive with color and movement. Plankton bloom in shifting patterns of green and blue. Tiny funicril drift through the currents in vast, glittering swarms. Seals, whales, and fish move like slow shadows beneath the ice, their motions graceful and deliberate. Even here, at the edges of the world, life finds a way to glow. The surface above may seem still, but it is constantly changing. Sheets of ice crack and shift with the rhythm of the tides, creating soft echoes that travel through the water below. Light filters down through cracks and thin layers, scattering into a shimmering blue haze. It's not bright, but it's beautiful, a faint, celestial glow that feels almost sacred. To witness it is to see the ocean illuminated from within, as if touched by starlight. The creatures that live in this world have adapted to its stillness. Many of them move slowly, conserving energy in the cold. The Antarctic ice fisher, for instance, has evolved clear blood that carries oxygen more efficiently in freezing water. Seals can hold their breath for over an hour, gliding effortlessly through the blue gloom. Even the thiddy beluga whales, have often called the canaries of the sea for their gentle voices, use sound to navigate and communicate. Beneath the thick ice, their songs echoing softly through the dark. The frozen seas also serve as the heartbeat of the planet's climate. When seawater freezes, it releases salt into the surrounding water, increasing its density and causing it to sink. This process helps drive the great ocean currents that move heat around the globe, connecting all the world's seas in one continuous cycle. In this way, the polar oceans are not just beautiful, they are essential. They keep the Earth in balance, quietly regulating temperature and life everywhere. To imagine standing above this hidden world is to feel a deep, reverent calm. The air is still. The only sounds are the soft crack of shifting ice and the distant whisper of wind. Beneath your feet, an entire ecosystem lives in silence, unseen yet thriving. Every movement, every flicker of light beneath the ice is part of a rhythm that has played for millions of years, unbroken, unhurried, eternal. There's a peace in knowing that even here, in the coldest and most remote corners of the world, the ocean continues to move, to breathe, to glow. The frozen roof above is not a barrier, it's a veil, one that hides a realm of quiet light and living endurance. So as you picture this scene, let the image settle in your mind, the vast white above, the blue glow below, the slow drift of life in between. It's a reminder that beauty doesn't need warmth or sound. It can exist in stillness, in patience, and in the quiet harmony of a world that keeps living, even beneath ice. Beneath the still sheet of ice, the ocean feels almost eternal, quiet, blue, and endless. But within that silence, life moves. It doesn't rush, it doesn't shout, and it doesn't fight against its surroundings. It simply exists in perfect rhythm with the cold, adapting to the frozen world that has shaped it over millions of years. The fawn-krill, tiny translucent crustaceans, are among the most important creatures here. They gather in vast clouds, their collective movement creating a soft shimmer beneath the ice. Each one is no larger than a paperclip, yet together they sustain nearly all other life in these waters. Whales, seals, penguins, and fish all depend on them, directly or indirectly. At night, when faint light seeps through cracks in the ice, the krill drift upward to feed on microscopic algae, then return to the safety of the depths. Their rhythm mirrors the pulse of the ocean itself, up and down, day and night, a gentle heartbeat in the cold. Among the larger creatures of this realm is the Weddell seal, a symbol of peace and endurance. It lives farther south than any other mammal, diving beneath the ice for long, graceful hunts. These seals create their own breathing holes by gnawing at the ice with their teeth, maintaining the same openings for years. When they rest, they often float upside down beneath the frozen surface, perfectly still, their silhouettes framed by the pale blue light above. It's a sight so quiet and serene that it feels like watching a dream unfold in slow motion. Then there are the thiddy beluga whales, whose soft, musical voices fill the frozen seas. They travel in small pods, communicating through an intricate series of whistles, chirps, and hums, sounds that bounce gently through the ice-covered water. These calls are not loud or frantic. They are slow and melodic, a kind of underwater conversation that never seems to end. Some scientists call belugas the canaries of the sea, but their song is deeper, more tender, a lullaby echoing through an otherwise silent world. In the deep waters beneath Antarctica, another ancient creature drifts, the foodie Antarctic jellyfisher. With its long, flowing tentacles and translucent bell, it moves gracefully through the dark, glowing faintly in shades of blue. Its life is a quiet one, spent drifting on currents and feeding on tiny plankton. Yet even this simple existence contributes to the greater balance of the ecosystem. Nothing here lives in isolation. Everything is connected, quietly dependent on the slow rhythm of the ice. Each of these beings, from the smallest krill to the largest whale, shares a harmony born of adaptation. There's no rush in their world, no wasted motion. Every breath, every flicker of light, every gentle stroke of a fin feels deliberate. The harshness of their environment has shaped them into masters of calm efficiency, creatures that have learned to survive by conserving energy, by flowing rather than forcing. When storms rage above the ice, these creatures remain below, unaffected by the chaos above. The ocean's depths protect them, cradling them in a muffled stillness that feels timeless. It's a place where the noise of the world fades, replaced by the faint hum of life in motion, soft, steady, and eternal. If you imagine drifting among them, the water around you thick and cold, you might feel something deeper than fascination, a quiet connection. These creatures are reminders that peace doesn't mean stillness alone. It means sodi balance. It means living within your environment rather than against it, finding rhythm even in extremes. The ocean beneath the ice shows us that life doesn't need warmth or comfort to be beautiful. It only needs harmony. Down here, every creature, no matter how small, moves with grace, purpose, and peace. So as you picture these beings gliding through blue shadows, surrounded by light filtering softly through frozen ceilings, let that image quiet your mind. Feel the stillness, the slow rhythm, the deep patience of this world. For in this cold silence, life speaks, not in words, but in movement, in endurance. Light behaves differently in the frozen seas. It doesn't shine directly or fill the water with brightness. Instead, it filters through the ice in sisu soft ribbons of blue and green, bending, scattering, and fading as it sinks. What reaches the world below is not sunlight as we know it, but something gentler, a faint, shimmering glow that turns the water into liquid glass. If you could float beneath the Arctic ice, you'd see this glow shifting with every movement above. When the wind moves across the frozen surface, the ice flexes and bends, creating ripples of light that dance through the depths. The effect is hypnotic, a slow, living aurora moving through water instead of sky. It's a light that feels both alive and asleep, as if the sea is dreaming in color. During certain times of the year, when the sun hovers low on the horizon, this underwater light grows especially soft. The Thudi polar twilight, those long days when the sun never fully rises or sets, fills the sea with hues that seem too delicate to name: pale sapphire, deep violet, and the faintest whisper of silver. Everything beneath the ice glows with a calm so deep it feels eternal. But light in this world doesn't come only from the sun. Many of the creatures that live here make their own. Tiny, foody bioluminescent plankton drift through the water, glowing faintly as they move. When disturbed, they release small sparks of blue light that linger like stars in motion. In the pitch-black layers far below, fiddy bioluminescent jellyfish and fin shrimpy pulse softly, their bodies flickering like lanterns in the dark. Even the scales of certain fish shimmer faintly when touched by the faintest light, turning them into living constellations. This interplay of sunlight and bioluminescence creates one of the most serene scenes in nature, a world of sudden subtle, living light. Nothing here is harsh or sudden. Every shimmer is slow, every glow gradual, every reflection soft. It's the kind of light that calms the mind and slows the heart, the kind that makes silence feel sacred. Scientists studying these environments often describe them as cathedral-like. The frozen ceiling above, the dim glowing light filtering through, and the vast open water below combine to create a sense of reverence. As though the ocean itself is a place of quiet worship, the creatures drifting through it seem to move with awareness, their paths illuminated just enough for what they need, nothing more. It's easy to imagine how peaceful it must feel to exist in such light, to live without brightness or shadow, surrounded instead by an eternal dusk. Down here, there is no distinction between day and night, only rhythm and continuity. The light moves in slow waves like a heartbeat, giving everything it touches a sense of life and stillness all at once. As you picture this glowing world beneath the ice, imagine the quiet sounds that accompany it, the soft groan of shifting ice above, the distant hum of a whale's call, the gentle rustle of currents moving through the still water. Everything feels measured, deliberate, unhurried. The light doesn't seek attention, it simply exists, reflecting the patience of the world that created it. In this calm, frozen ocean, light and silence are partners. Together they create a peace unlike any other, a reminder that beauty can exist without brilliance, and that life can glow even in the coldest, darkest places. So as you drift deeper into this image, let it fill your imagination, a vast blue beneath white ice, alive with soft light and the quiet movement of unseen life. There is no urgency here, no noise, no struggle, only the calm rhythm of a world that has been glowing in silence for millennia. The polar oceans are often called the frozen heart of the planet, and it's easy to understand why. Beneath the white expanse of ice, The ocean beats with a slow, steady rhythm that touches every part of the Earth. The currents that move through these frozen seas connect to every other ocean, carrying nutrients, oxygen, and energy across the globe. Though they seem still, these waters are in constant, quiet motion, the silent pulse that keeps the planet alive. It's strange to think that the coldest places on Earth could hold so much warmth, not in temperature, but in life, in the gentle persistence of creatures that thrive where others cannot. The krill, the seals, the whales, the plankton, all of them live in harmony with the ice, not despite it. They have learned the art of adaptation without resistance. When the surface freezes, they continue below. When the light fades, they create their own. Theirs is a life of acceptance, not struggle, a perfect reflection of nature's calm intelligence. For millions of years, the frozen oceans have remained much the same. The ice forms in winter, melts in summer, and returns again, a rhythm as old as time itself. Each freeze and thaw renews the world, stirring nutrients from the depths and feeding the smallest forms of life, which in turn sustain the largest. It is an elegant, cyclical balance, one that has continued for longer than human history can measure. And yet, even in this stillness, there is fragility. The ice may seem eternal, but it changes with the warmth of the air above and the currents below. Scientists studying the poles often describe their work with a sense of reverence, as if they are not just measuring, but listening to the heartbeat of the Earth itself. The sounds of cracking ice, the shifting of glaciers, the hum of moving water, together they form a kind of quiet music, a song of transformation and errance as old as the planet itself. In the silence of the polar seas, time feels slower, softer. The world above may rush forward, but here, beneath the ice, everything moves at its own pace. Each moment unfolds gently like snow falling through water. It's a reminder that stillness doesn't mean nothing is happening. Even when the world seems frozen, life continues, quietly, patiently, beautifully. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of the frozen sea. The air is crisp, your breath visible in the cold. Before you stretches an endless sheet of white, and beneath it, an unseen world of light and motion. You can hear the distant groan of the ice shifting, the faint whisper of water moving far below. Everything feels vast and calm, untouched, ancient, and deeply alive. This is the frozen heart of the world, the place where silence and movement coexist, where light survives in darkness, where life thrives in patience. It is a reminder that the Earth itself breathes in cycles of stillness and renewal, of rest and return. So as this chapter closes, imagine that breath, the planet's slow, steady rhythm beneath the ice. Feel it mirror your own breathing. Inhale with the tide, exhale with the wind. Let the stillness settle into you, the way the cold settles into the sea, deep, gentle, and quiet. For even in the coldest, most remote corners of the Earth, the ocean's pulse never stops. It continues beneath the ice, unseen but eternal, the steady, peaceful heartbeat of a living world. If you could look at the Earth from above, not as continents and coastlines, but as moving water, you'd see something extraordinary. A slow, living network of blue veins winding through every sea. These are the Sondocean currents, the silent rivers within the ocean itself. They move heat, salt, and life across the planet, connecting distant waters into one vast breathing system. The ocean's currents are its fin circulatory system, flowing just as blood moves through the body. Warm water rises and travels toward the poles, carrying energy from the equator. Cold water sinks and moves back toward the tropics, cooling the planet in return. Together, these movements keep the Earth's climate in balance. Without them, the world would change in ways we can hardly imagine. Deserts expanding, storms growing, and ice retreating from the poles. Yet the ocean continues to circulate, quietly maintaining the planet's rhythm as it has for millions of years. The largest of these systems is called the Fun Global Conveyor Belt, or for the Mahaline circulation, a single, continuous current that touches nearly every ocean basin. It begins in the frigid waters of the North Atlantic, where cold, dense water sinks to the seafloor and begins a slow journey southward, winding through the deep, dark paths of the ocean. It can take 40,000 years Xen for a single molecule of water to complete the full circuit, moving from the poles to the equator and back again. Yet it never stops. Even now, as you breathe, it moves, steady, invisible, essential. The ocean's currents are not chaotic, they are graceful. Each one moves at its own pace, guided by temperature, salinity, and the pull of the Earth's rotation. The Findolf stream, one of the most famous, flows like a river within the sea, warm, swift, and powerful, carrying tropical heat northward toward Europe. It's the reason that cities like London stay mild, even when they sit as far north as frozen Canada. In contrast, the Foodie Antarctic circumpolar current circles the bottom of the planet, a cold and endless flow that connects the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans together. It is the largest current on Earth, and perhaps its quietest. These movements are so vast, yet so slow, that we rarely notice them. But if you could drift with one, if you could let yourself be carried by the deep, you would feel its calm persistence. There are no waves, no turbulence, only a steady, unseen motion that carries everything with it. This is the ocean's heartbeat, constant, balanced, and impossibly gentle. Currents also carry fin life. Tiny plankton, fish eggs, and nutrients drift with them across entire oceans. A coral reef in one corner of the world may owe its life to currents carrying microscopic seeds from another. Even the migration of whales and sea turtles follows these same invisible pathways, moving in harmony with the ocean's flow. Everything is connected, not by sight or sound, but by movement. What's truly peaceful about this system is its patience. The ocean's currents have been flowing for millions of years, adjusting to changes in climate, land, and time. They are slow but never still. They don't fight obstacles. They find new paths. They move with the world, not against it. If you listen closely to recordings of the deep, you can hear this motion in the faintest way. Low, continuous tones created by shifting water masses. It's not a sound of struggle, but of twinfinity. The earth hums softly with it, a reminder that beneath all change, something steady endures. So, as you imagine the planet turning, picture these deep blue rivers flowing endlessly beneath its surface, linking every sea, every coastline, every drop of rain that returns to the ocean. The earth is alive, and the ocean is its pulse, patient, rhythmic, eternal. The ocean is more than water. It is balance, the invisible hand that steadies the planet's breath, temperature, and rhythm. Every current, every rising tide, every deep movement beneath the surface works together in quiet harmony to keep the world alive. When warm water travels north and cold water drifts south, it creates a gentle exchange that shapes the climate of entire continents. The ocean stores the sun's heat during the day and releases it slowly at night, softening the extremes of weather. It absorbs the excess warmth of the equator and shares it with colder regions, keeping Earth's seasons in a delicate equilibrium. Without this slow, constant movement, the planet would swing between chaos and stillness, scorching heat in one hemisphere, frozen silence in the other. But the sea does not allow that. It smooths the edges of time and temperature, keeping the world calm. The ocean also breathes for us. Tiny plankton near the surface drift with the currents, capturing sunlight and carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen into the air. These microscopic beings, invisible to the naked eye, produce deficitly more than half of the oxygen on Earth. Every second breath you take comes from the ocean. Yet, they do this quietly, with no noise or recognition, just drifting in rhythm with the sea. As water moves across the globe, it carries with it not just warmth, but twin life itself. Nutrients from the deep rise to the surface, in a slow spiraling motion known as non-adescendi upwelling. These nutrients feed plankton, which feed fish, which feed the whales, the seals, the birds, all linked by this steady silent exchange. Even the smallest stir in one part of the ocean can ripple across ecosystems thousands of miles away. In this way, the sea functions like a single breathing organism, inhaling, exhaling, circulating energy through every corner of its body. The waves we see are only its skin. The true motion happens far beneath, where water moves in slow spirals that never stop. It's easy to forget that this constant circulation is what allows forests to grow, clouds to form, and rivers to flow. Without it, the air would stagnate, the land would dry, and the rhythm of life would falter. The beauty of this balance lies in its subtlety. The ocean doesn't force equilibrium, it finds it too. When heat builds, it carries it away. When carbon rises, it draws it down. When storms break the surface, the deep absorbs their energy and smooths their impact. It's a system that listens and responds, not in panic, but in patience. Even the salt within the ocean plays a role. As ice forms in the polar regions, salt is released into the surrounding water, making it heavier and pulling it downward. This movement drives the great deep currents that help distribute temperature and nutrients. It's a small process with a vast consequence. A perfect example of how the ocean's wisdom lies in its smallest gestures. If you think of the Earth as a living being, the ocean is its Suri circulatory system, and its lungs, Ituli Atari. Every rise and fall of its currents is like a heartbeat. Every wave is a breath. It doesn't move for show or sound. It moves because movement is life. And like all living things, its peace comes not from stillness, but from steady motion. As you imagine this, picture the ocean as a slow glowing sphere of blue wrapped around the Earth. A body of light and depth, quietly spinning, always flowing. Feel the steadiness of that image. Nothing abrupt, nothing hurried, just the continuous hum of balance. The ocean's role is not dramatic, it's constant. And in that constancy, there's a lesson for us. Balance doesn't come from control, but from rhythm, from listening, adjusting, and allowing movement to continue at its natural pace. The sea teaches that equilibrium is not something to be achieved, but something to be maintained through patience. So, as you breathe, let your rhythm match the seas. Inhale slowly like the rising tide. Exhale gently, like water returning to the shore. The same balance that keeps the oceans turning keeps you here, steady, calm, and alive. If you stand on any shore in the Pacific, the Atlantic, the Indian, or the Arctic, and listen to the waves, you're hearing the same water move through different names. The oceans of the world are not separate. They are one continuous body, a single heartbeat flowing around the Earth. Their boundaries are only human inventions, lines drawn across something that was never meant to be divided. Deep beneath the surface, the Thuji currents connect everything. A drop of water that sinks in the North Atlantic might one day rise in the Pacific. It will travel through the Antarctic, swirl past the Indian Ocean, and return again centuries later, transformed but continuous. This slow looping journey, known as the Coin Global Conveyor Belt, binds the planet's seas into a single breathing system. Every motion, no matter how small, ripples through the whole. The Antarctic circumpolar current is the thread that weaves it all together. Flowing endlessly around the bottom of the world, it links the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans like a blue ribbon of movement. It is the largest and most powerful current on Earth, yet it moves with a grace that defies its strength. A constant, silent river circling the globe. Without it, the exchange of temperature and nutrients between the oceans would slow, and the planet's delicate balance would begin to waver. What's remarkable about this unity is its patience. It takes 1,000 years for a single parcel of water to complete its journey through the global system. During that time, it passes through countless environments: sunlit shallows, icy depths, volcanic vents, and coral reefs, carrying with it traces of every place it's been. When it rises again, it brings those stories with it: the minerals of the deep, the warmth of the tropics, the cool memory of the poles. The ocean is not just a mover of water, it's a keeper of history, constantly blending and renewing the memory of the Earth. This connection doesn't just link water, it links fin life. Whales migrate across entire oceans following the same invisible paths that currents carve through the sea. Sea turtles hatch on one shore and, guided by instinct and flow, return decades later to the very same beach. Coral larvae drift for hundreds of miles before finding a new reef to call home. Every movement in the ocean, from the smallest plankton to the largest leviathan, follows the same quiet choreography set by the currents. In a way, this connection mirrors something within us. The same way the oceans share their warmth and motion, we too are connected. Through air, through rhythm, through the slow, unseen exchanges that bind all living things. Just as no wave exists on its own, no life does either. Each one rises, moves, and returns, part of a pattern too vast to see, but always felt. Scientists often describe the deep ocean as one organism made of many parts. It breathes through its currents, speaks through its sounds, and thinks through its constant renewal. The Atlantic, the Pacific, the Indian, these aren't separate names. They are two different expressions of the same being, like the chambers of one great living heart. When you imagine drifting through this system, carried slowly from one ocean to another, feeling the temperature shift, the salinity change, the pressure deepen. Every layer moves in response to another, every current balancing the rest. The sea doesn't compete with itself, it collaborates. It flows in harmony with its own movement, a quiet unity that sustains everything it touches. As you breathe, imagine this same flow within yourself, a calm current running through you, linking every thought, every heartbeat, every breath. You are part of the same continuity, made of the same water that drifts through the ocean, that falls as rain, that becomes river, cloud, and tide. The connection is not metaphorical, it's real. The ocean unites not only continents, but timmerments and timmerments. The water that once brushed the shore of an ancient land now moves beneath the ice of the poles, or through the coral gardens of the Pacific. The same currents that carried ancient plankton still flow today. Nothing in the ocean truly disappears. It only transforms, carried forward by the eternal flow. So as you listen to the ocean's quiet rhythm, the eternal inhale and exhale of tides and currents, remember, there is only one ocean, one living breath surrounding the earth. It moves beneath every sky, touches every shore, and connects every living thing. The more you learn about the ocean, the more you realize that it doesn't simply exist. Temtion the planet. It temdisi the planets. Rhythm, every current, every wave, every rise and fall of the tide is part of a single, endless pulse that flows through the earth. When you stand by the sea and listen to the waves, you're hearing time itself, the same rhythm that has played since the first water touched the earth's surface. It's older than mountains, older than trees, older even than the continents themselves. The ocean's rhythm is not just sound or movement, it's the fight of the world. From the deepest abyss to the shallowest shore, the ocean moves in perfect coordination. When warm water drifts north, cold water sinks south. When storms rage above, the deep stays calm, absorbing their energy and returning it as stillness. When one current slows, another takes its place. The entire system breathes in a cycle of motion, so balanced that it feels almost alive. And perhaps it is, for life itself depends on its flow. You can feel this rhythm even when you're far from the sea. It exists in the rain that falls, in the rivers that run, in the clouds that drift, and the air you breathe. The ocean's movement drives the weather, shapes the seasons, and keeps everything in motion. Its breath is the breath of the world, quiet, patient, unending. There's something deeply peaceful in knowing that this rhythm continues no matter what happens above it. Civilizations rise and fall. Ice ages come and go, but the ocean keeps flowing. It doesn't hurry or pause, it simply desires. It listens, adapts, and continues, as if time itself follows its lead. The scientists who study these patterns often speak of their beauty, the elegance of balance, the perfection of cycles that need no correction. The planet doesn't force its rhythm, it allows it. The ocean has no clock, no sense of urgency. It moves with the quiet intelligence of nature, adjusting constantly yet never losing its pace. Imagine, for a moment, floating in that vast blue, suspended in a current that moves beneath continents and across centuries. You're carried not by force, but by flow. You can't see the direction, but you can feel it. Slow, steady, certain. There's no need to control where you're going. The movement itself is enough. It's the same peace you feel when breathing deeply, when letting go of tension, when surrendering to the calm that was always there beneath the noise. In this way, the rhythm of the ocean mirrors the rhythm of life, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, sometimes chaotic at the surface, but always calm below. No matter what happens, the deeper current stays the same, steady, quiet, patient. And just as the ocean connects the planet, that same steady rhythm connects every living thing. You can feel it even now, in your pulse, in your breath, in the subtle rise and fall of your chest. That's the ocean's rhythm moving through you, a reminder that you're made of the same water, shaped by the same forces, and part of the same infinite motion. So as this chapter comes to a close, take one last deep breath. Picture the ocean as the Earth's heartbeat, slow, balanced, and eternal. Feel its rhythm settle into your own. The waves roll in and out. The currents rise and fall. The planet breathes, and you breathe with it. The ocean's rhythm is not a sound to listen for. It's something to feel. It's in the wind, the rain, the tide, and the stillness between moments. It's the song of the earth, playing softly beneath everything. And as long as it flows, the world remains alive, calm, connected, and whole. Sound travels differently in water. It doesn't fade quickly like it does in air. It moves farther, faster, and deeper, carrying whispers across entire oceans. Down here, sound is not just noise, it's wind life itself. The ocean is a world built on vibration. It breathes in frequency, it listens in resonance, and everything that lives within it, from the smallest shrimp to the largest whale, has learned to speak its language. Scientists call this the 2D acoustic ocean, a living network of sound that never truly falls silent. Fish click, shrimp snap, and whales sing. Even coral reefs, those bustling underwater cities, produce a faint, continuous crackle as life moves across their branches. Together, these sounds form a constant hum, a music of existence that carries through every corner of the sea. For many marine creatures, sound replaces sight. Light disappears quickly beneath the surface, gone within a few hundred meters. But sound can travel for thousands of miles. Whales use it to find each other across vast distances. Dolphins send high-pitched clicks that bounce off objects, creating mental maps of their surroundings. Even fish, once thought to be silent, communicate through low grunts and vibrations, signaling warnings, mating calls, and rhythms of movement. This fin language of water is not chaotic. It's a carefully balanced symphony where every creature's voice has its place. The deep groans of whales resonate like slow, distant drums, while the clicks of dolphins sparkle through the higher ranges. Shrimp create soft bursts of sound that merge into a gentle hiss, like rain falling on distant water. Each tone complements the next, and together they create a sense of unity, a reminder that even in diversity, there can be harmony. But sound in the ocean does more than connect creatures to one another. It connects them to their world. The movements of waves against rocks, the soft rumble of underwater volcanoes, the groan of shifting ice, all these are part of the same conversation. The ocean listens as much as it speaks. Some scientists believe that marine animals can sense changes in these sounds, shifts in the tone of the sea that signal storms, earthquakes, or even temperature changes long before they occur. To them, the ocean's voice is not background noise. It's a living guide, a constant signal that tells them where to move, when to feed, and how to survive. If you were to drift in the deep and listen, you'd find that the sea never sounds the same twice. Near coral reefs, it crackles like a warm fire. In the open ocean, it hums like distant thunder. Near the poles, it sighs, the sound of ice melting, refreezing, and shifting with the seasons. Each region has its own tone, its own voice, its own rhythm. The most peaceful part of this language is its bitey continuity. There's no rush, no argument, no interruption. The sounds come and go in cycles, blending naturally into one another, like the rise and fall of breath. Even the loudest song of a whale fades into silence that feels full, not empty, a pause that completes the melody rather than breaking it. The ocean's voice reminds us that communication doesn't always need words. Sometimes it's enough to feel, to resonate with the world around you, to listen deeply without the need to reply. The water carries these messages effortlessly, translating vibration into connection, and in that connection lies peace. So as you imagine floating in this vast blue world, surrounded by sound you can't quite describe, let yourself listen, not with your ears, but with your whole being. Feel the low hum of the deep, the gentle clicks and murmurs that drift through the dark. Each vibration is a message, a heartbeat, a breath of the ocean itself. The sea is speaking, softly, endlessly, beautifully, and all it asks of you is to be still and listen. Far below the surface, in the blue half, light where sunlight fades into shadow, a sound begins to rise. It's deep, slow, and impossibly vast, a vibration that seems to move not just through the water, but through time itself. This is the fin whale, Songchi, one of the oldest and most profound expressions of communication on Earth. Each note of a whale's song travels for hundreds, even thousands of miles. It echoes through valleys of water and across entire oceans, carrying messages that only other whales can fully understand. Some tones are low enough to vibrate through the seafloor. Others rise gently, like distant sighs. When you listen to them, truly listen, you can feel that these sounds are not random. They re-patterns, rhythms, repetitions. They refi music with meaning, composed by minds that think in cycles as old as the sea. The humpback whale is the ocean's most famous singer. Each year, males produce long, complex songs that can last for hours without repetition. These songs evolve slowly, like a living tradition. Phrases are added, adjusted, and shared across populations, spreading like cultural memory through the water. One season's song might drift across an ocean and appear, transformed in another group the following year, a form of learning that connects entire whale communities through sound alone. No one knows exactly why whales sing, but their music seems to serve many purposes: communication, courtship, navigation, or perhaps something deeper. Scientists have discovered that whales from the same region share melodies, and that over time, those melodies change together like a slow collective improvisation. It is as though the ocean itself is composing through them, its movements and moods translated into song. What is most striking is how these songs feel when you hear them. Even through recordings, there's something deeply emotional about them. They seem to carry not just sound, but tuvilingi, loneliness, patience, longing, peace. The low, resonant tones linger like thoughts that take their time to form. The pauses between notes feel just as important as the notes themselves, creating a rhythm that mirrors the ocean's own breathing. When researchers first discovered whale songs in the 1960s, the world was astonished. People who listened to them described sensations of calm, awe, and even sadness, as though they were hearing the voice of the planet itself. And perhaps they were. Whales have been singing far longer than humans have existed. Their calls echo through a lineage millions of years deep, carrying a memory older than civilization. Each song, though ephemeral, leaves a trace in the ocean's fabric. Sound waves bounce, linger, fade, but never disappear entirely. Some scientists believe that, in a way, the ocean holds a fond memory of sound, just as the Earth holds a memory of light and life. The vibrations of past songs might still drift, too faint for us to hear, but alive in the water's endless motion. Listening to whale song is like listening to the heartbeat of time. The sounds stretch and bend across the deep, connecting distant lives in a single, resonant thread. When one whale sings, another answers. When that song fades, another takes its place. It is a cycle that never stops, a dialogue that continues long after we stop listening. For the whales, the ocean is not silent. It's full of meaning. Each tone carries a message, a memory, a sense of belonging. The sea itself becomes an instrument, its layers of temperature and pressure shaping the notes, amplifying some, softening others. The result is a sound that feels not of this world, yet deeply familiar, like the hum of wind through mountains, or the echo of breath in a cathedral. So as you imagine drifting through the deep, surrounded by this slow, resonant music, let it fill the space around you. Feel the vibration rather than the sound, the way it moves through you, steady and calm. Picture the whales below, enormous, yet gentle, suspended in the dark as they sing to one another across the miles. Their songs are not just calls, they re-continuity. They remind us that communication can exist without words, that understanding can come from rhythm, and that even in the depths of silence, something ancient is always speaking. The whales have been singing since before we knew what music was. Their voices are the memory of the sea itself, a conversation between the past and the present, carried endlessly forward by the currents of time. If whales are the ocean's singers, then dolphins are its storytellers, curious, social beings whose voices shimmer through the water like light. They live in families, form friendships, and speak in languages so complex that we are only beginning to understand them. Their communication isn't just sound, it's signed emotion made audible, woven through laughter, rhythm, and resonance. A dolphin's voice is made of clicks, whistles, and pulses. These sounds travel through the water faster and farther than human speech ever could. But what makes them extraordinary is how they're used, not just for echoing the world, but for describing it. Dolphins send bursts of sound that bounce off objects, returning echoes that paint pictures in their minds. This process, called foin echolocation, allows them to see through sound, to visualize fish, coral, and even each other with stunning precision. Scientists believe that dolphins don't simply detect objects with echolocation, they share. When one dolphin clicks, another can interpret the returning echoes almost as if experiencing the same image. It's as though their minds overlap for a moment, connected through sound. This ability makes dolphin communication one of the most intimate forms of language in the animal world, a way of not just talking, but civiling together. Each dolphin also has a signature whistle, a unique sound that functions like a name. They use it to identify themselves, to call one another across distances, and even to remember friends they haven't seen in years. In one study, dolphins responded to the whistles of companions they'd known 20 years before, a sign of long memory and lasting emotional bonds. Their calls are not random noise. They are greetings, invitations, reassurances, all carried in melody and tone. But what's most beautiful about dolphins is their foodie joy. They play constantly, with each other, with fish, with the currents themselves. They leap through waves, spin in spirals, and surf on the wakes of passing boats. To us, it looks like pure fun. To them, it's communication through movement, a language of energy and trust. When one dolphin leaps, another often follows, mimicking its arc through the air as if echoing its joy in motion. They are not only speaking, they are celebrating. This joy has a rhythm. If you've ever listened to a recording of dolphins underwater, you'll notice the pattern, quick bursts of clicks followed by soft whistles that rise and fall like laughter. The ocean around them feels alive with conversation. Each sound ripples outward, blending with others in a natural harmony that reflects the unity of the group. There's no hierarchy, no dominance, just connection. Their empathy is equally remarkable. Dolphins have been observed helping injured companions, protecting other species, and even guiding lost animals back to safety. They seem to understand distress and respond with calmness, not panic. In the same way that whales fill the deep ocean with song, dolphins fill the shallows with compassion, the sound of awareness turned into care. For those who have been lucky enough to swim near wild dolphins, the experience feels almost otherworldly. When they approach, they often circle slowly, emitting soft pulses that vibrate through your body. You don't just hear them, you feel them. The sound seems to reach inside you, not as noise, but as warmth. People often describe a deep sense of peace in these encounters, as though the dolphins communicate directly with the rhythm of your heart. What dolphins remind us is that communication isn't only about words, it's about civic presence. It's about being fully aware of those around you, responding to their energy, and sharing the same space with understanding. The dolphin's world is one of constant connection, sound, motion, empathy, and play blending into a seamless language that transcends thought. Imagine floating among them for a moment. The water is warm, the light filters softly through the surface, and around you, dolphins move in smooth, effortless circles. You hear their clicks and whistles rising and falling in patterns that sound almost like laughter. You don't need to interpret it. You can feel what it means. Joy, curiosity, peace. The dolphin's language is the language of connection, not one of control or command, but of trust and harmony. They speak the way the ocean moves, freely, fluidly, always in rhythm. And perhaps that's their greatest wisdom, that communication is not about being understood, but about twin understanding together. So as you drift in this moment, surrounded by the echoing joy of dolphins, let their calm energy fill your thoughts. Their world is a reminder that connection doesn't need translation, only awareness. In the quiet vastness of the ocean, their laughter becomes the sound of life itself. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this, the deep hum of a whale's song, the soft clicking of dolphins nearby, the faint crackle of coral reefs alive with life. Now listen closely. Beneath those sounds, you can hear something else. The soft pulse of the ocean itself, a continuous rhythm that ties everything together. This is the symphony of the sea, a soundscape that has played without pause for millions of years. The ocean's music is not random. It's built on layers, each one subtle, each one essential. The low frequencies of whales create the bass line, deep and resonant, echoing through the miles. The higher notes of dolphins add melody, bright and playful. Shrimp, fish, and coral fill the mid-range with quiet, constant chatter, a texture that hums softly beneath it all. The currents and tides provide percussion, a gentle pulse of movement that keeps time. Together, they form a harmony so complete that it feels alive. Scientists who record the sounds of the ocean often describe it as listening to a living world in conversation with itself. They can tell when a storm passes by the shifting roar of waves, when a school of fish moves through by the rhythm of their collective swimming, when the seasons change by the patterns of life rising and falling in the soundscape. To the trained ear, the ocean speaks constantly, not in chaos but in chorus. What makes this symphony truly remarkable is that it is sundi never the same twice-ed. Every moment brings a new arrangement, a new balance of sound and silence. A passing whale adds a verse. A pod of dolphins creates a refrain. When the sea is calm, the tone softens to near silence, a gentle lull that feels like the planet taking a deep breath. When storms stir the waves, the sound swells into a crescendo, powerful yet purposeful. Then, as the storm fades, the rhythm returns to stillness once more. The music of the sea is not about perfection, it's about flow. Even the moments of silence are part of the song. In the spaces between the sounds, in the pause after a whale's call, or the stillness before the next wave breaks, the ocean holds its breath. That silence is not emptiness, it's anticipation, the quiet that makes the next sound meaningful. The sea, like life, understands that music needs both sound and stillness to exist. For the creatures who live within it, this symphony is more than background noise. It's a way of life, a constant dialogue of awareness. Whales locate each other through echoes. Dolphins call their families through melody. Even coral larvae use the sound of reefs to find their home. Every vibration carries meaning. Every tone is a message. The entire ocean listens, responds, and adjusts in perfect balance. What's most humbling is that we, too, are part of this music. The oxygen we breathe, the water that flows through us, the heartbeat that keeps us alive, all are echoes of the same rhythm. The ocean song is the song of life itself, flowing through every living thing. When you listen deeply, not with your ears, but with your awareness, you can feel it within you. Imagine yourself floating in the open sea. The water is calm, your body weightless, and all around you, the sounds of the deep surround you in layers of peace. A distant whale's call rolls through the dark, low and soft. Tiny fish click and dart nearby. Far above, waves shift gently, their movement like a soft percussion on the surface. Everything feels connected, as though the whole world is breathing in rhythm with you. That is the symphony of the sea, endless, patient, alive. A reminder that communication, in its purest form, isn't about words or noise. It's about resonance. The ocean doesn't force harmony. It creates it through balance. Every voice, no matter how small, contributes to the whole. And just as the sea listens, so can we. The next time you hear the sound of rain, of wind, or even of your own breath, listen for the ocean beneath it. It's always there. The steady pulse of the planet, the gentle hum of connection that never stops. The sea sings because it exists. It doesn't need an audience, it needs only to flow. And in that constant, flowing song lies one of the universe's oldest truths. Everything that lives, listens. Everything that listens, connects. So as this chapter comes to a close, let yourself drift in that sound. The sound of the world breathing, the sound of harmony, the sound of the endless, living ocean. Since the first humans stood by the shore and watched the tide move in and out, the ocean has stirred something deep in us, a mixture of awe, curiosity, and calm fear. It's the one part of our planet that feels both familiar and unknowable. We can touch it, sail across it, breathe its air, yet we've only explored a small fraction of what lies beneath. The rest remains a mystery, shimmering quietly in the dark. That mystery has always called to us. Long before science explained the tides or mapped the currents, people told stories to make sense of the sea. To them, the waves were alive, breathing, dreaming, speaking in voices only the wind could translate. Every culture that touched the ocean gave it names and souls, filled it with gods, guardians, and unseen beings. They saw in its vastness a reflection of the human mind, deep, restless, and full of hidden life. The ancient Greeks imagined Tuinti Poseidon, the god of the sea, whose moods shaped the waves. The Polynesians spoke of Tangaroa, father of all ocean life, who watched over sailors as they crossed the open waters. In Japan, the sea goddess Ifidwatatsumi ruled the underwater realm with gentleness and strength, her palace said to shimmer like coral beneath the waves. In Norse myth, the sea was the home of Fifinjamangandra, the world serpent so large it encircled the entire earth. In West African stories, the ocean spirit, Siemja, was a symbol of creation, motherhood, and protection. And in countless indigenous traditions, the ocean is not a god or creature, but a full-living ancestor, an ancient consciousness that remembers everything, from the first fish to the first human breath. Though the names differ, the feeling is the same: reverence. The ocean has always been more than a place. It's a presence, vast, aware, and deeply calm. People have always sensed that it listens, that it remembers, that it carries the weight of everything that has ever lived. Even today, when satellites measure its depth and machines explore its floor, the ocean still resists complete knowing. Its deepest trenches remain shadowed, its creatures strange and luminous, its movements guided by forces we only partly understand. And maybe that's why it continues to comfort us. Because even in a world where almost everything can be explained, the sea reminds us that twin mystery still exists. There's something soothing about that thought. The idea that some things are not meant to be fully understood, only experienced. The ocean's mystery doesn't provoke fear, it invites stillness. It tells us that wonder isn't about answers, it's about openness. To look at the sea and not know is to participate in something ancient. The quiet act of wondering, the same way our ancestors once did under starlit skies. When you stand before the ocean, or even just imagine it now, the waves moving in soft rhythm, the horizon stretching endlessly before you, you're touching the same sense of awe that shaped myth itself. You're standing in the same place where curiosity began. The foin-dreaming ocean is both outside and within us. Its movements mirror the tides of our own thoughts, calm, then restless, then calm again. It reflects the mind's depth, the way feelings drift unseen beneath the surface, the way memories rise and fall like waves. In that reflection lies a truth older than any story. The ocean doesn't just hold life. It 20 cheese, et, to move, to breathe, to change, and to rest. So as you listen now, let the mystery of the sea unfold gently in your imagination. You don't have to solve it. Just let it exist, quiet and endless, like a dream that belongs to the earth itself. The ocean doesn't ask to be known, it asks to be felt. And when you feel it, its vastness, its patience, its peace, you begin to sense that the sea's greatest gift isn't its power, but its calm reminder that not everything needs to be understood to be beautiful. For as long as there have been waves, there have been stories. The ocean has always spoken to us, and in our longing to understand it, we've given it 1,000 voices. Each culture shaped those voices into myth. Stories that breathe softly through time, carrying wisdom disguised as wonder. In the islands of the Pacific, people once believed that the ocean was born from Siphon, the breath of the sky. They said that when the heavens first exhaled, their breath became water, flowing outward in every direction, filling the world with calm blue light. The sea, in their stories, wasn't a force of destruction. It was the first dream, the original stillness from which all life emerged. Even today, the Pacific still carries that feeling, endless, tranquil, breathing with the same rhythm it always has. In the Arctic, the Inuit tell stories of Fensadna, the goddess of the sea. Her long hair, they say, flows through the water like currents. When she is calm, the sea is still. When she stirs, the waves rise. Sedna is not a deity of anger, but of balance, a reminder that the ocean, like all things, responds to care. When humans live respectfully, when they forget, it reminds them gently and then more firmly. Her story teaches that harmony with nature is not a choice, but a relationship that must be renewed with every generation. Farther south, in the waters of ancient Greece, sailors prayed to Amphitrite, queen of the sea and consort of Poseidon. She ruled not with thunder or rage, but with patience and understanding. Her name means the encircling one, symbolizing how the sea surrounds and sustains all things. To the Greeks, Amphitrite was not a myth to be feared, but a reflection of the sea's nurturing side, calm, vast, and full of grace. The full of grace of New Zealand told of Fundi Anamoana, the ocean woman, who carried life within her waves. They said her movements shaped the tides and that her whispers were heard in the sound of distant surf. She was seen as both mother and teacher, the one who taught humans the importance of rhythm, of moving with nature's flow rather than against it. Her lessons weren't spoken, they were felt, just as the tide can be felt pulling softly at your feet. Even in lands far from the coast, stories of the ocean found their way inland. Ancient Egyptians believed that before anything existed, there was only Fudunun, the endless primeval sea, silent, dark, and full of potential. Out of it rose the first light, the first breath, the first thought. In that still, watery beginning, they saw not chaos, but tutti possibility, a vast, peaceful emptiness that held the promise of everything. These stories all share something quietly profound. They treat the sea as wheaty alive, aware, and wise Suti. The ocean isn't a backdrop, it's a being, one that dreams, listens, and remembers. It has moods, but not malice. It has power, but not cruelty. Like the mind itself, it can be calm or restless, deep or shallow, but always, at its core, it is hinder still. For thousands of years, these myths have comforted sailors, poets, and wanderers alike. They tell us that the ocean's mystery isn't meant to frighten us, it's meant to guide us inward. To the ancient storytellers, the sea wasn't just out there, it was inside them, a mirror of their own depths, their own emotions, their own longing to connect with something greater than themselves. When we listen to those old stories now, we hear echoes of our own quiet thoughts, the desire to belong, to understand, to find meaning in the vastness. The myths remind us that the ocean doesn't need to be conquered or explained. It only needs to be silently acknowledged as something that has always been here, breathing softly beneath the stars. So as you imagine these ancient seas, calm waters glowing under moonlight, gods and spirits moving through waves like gentle wind, let yourself feel what those stories were really about. Not power or fear, but respect. A reverence for the calm intelligence of nature. A recognition that beneath the surface of the world, there's something sacred, steady, and alive. The myths of the sea are not history. They are memory. Humanity's way of remembering that we too come from water, and that somewhere in our quietest thoughts, we still belong to it. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the sea not as something far away, but as something found inside you. Imagine your thoughts as waves rising, flowing, then fading into stillness. Beneath them lies something quieter, a deep, calm space where time feels slow and wide. That is the Find Ocean within Finder, the part of you that listens, remembers, and moves without rush. The human mind in many ways is shaped like the sea at the surface. It's lively, full of motion and sound. Thoughts and sensations break like waves, constantly forming and dissolving. But beneath that surface lies a depth we rarely visit, a vast, tranquil layer where emotions, memories, and dreams drift like gentle currents, unseen but always moving. Scientists say that our brain waves, when we dream or meditate, slow down into fever rhythms that resemble the pulse of the ocean. In these moments, consciousness flows freely, no longer bound by time or language. Ideas and images rise from the depths like bubbles of light, float for a moment, and disappear again into the calm. This rhythm, the rise and fall of awareness, is the mind's own tide. Just as the ocean holds the memory of the earth, our minds hold the memory of our lives. Some memories drift near the surface, vivid, immediate, easy to reach. Others rest deeper, layered and silent, waiting for the right current to bring them upward. When you dream, those hidden memories stir, blending with imagination to form something entirely new, a private inner ocean that changes with every night's tide. This is why water often appears in dreams. It reflects emotion, change, and depth, the things we feel but can't always explain. Calm water mirrors peace. Stormy waves reflect unrest. Deep blue symbolizes the subconscious, the place where truths wait quietly until we are ready to see them. Even ancient philosophers sensed this connection. They described the mind as fluid, capable of reflection, turbulence, and calm, an inner sea that mirrors the world outside. The more we study the ocean, the more it feels like studying the mind itself. Both are vast, mysterious, and alive with unseen movement. Both hold ancient memories. Both change constantly yet remain whole, and both, when quiet, reveal a strange kind of peace, a silence that isn't empty, but full of potential. When you meditate or simply breathe deeply, you can feel this inner ocean begin to calm. What remains is depth, the slow, rhythmic awareness that you exist, that you're breathing, that you're connected to everything around you. It's the same rhythm that moves the tides, the same stillness that fills the deep. Even in science, the parallels are clear. The salt in our blood is nearly identical to the salt in the sea. The water that flows through our bodies is the same water that once moved through ancient oceans, evaporated into clouds, fell as rain, and found its way into us. In every sense, we are not separate from the ocean. We are sine extensions of it, carrying its memory in every cell. Perhaps that's why the sound of waves so easily quiets the mind. The sea is not just soothing because it's beautiful. It's soothing because it feels like coming home. Its rhythm matches something ancient in us, something we've known since before we were human. The same pulse that guided the first life in the ocean still hums softly within our hearts. When we listen to the ocean, we are, in a way, listening to ourselves, to the part that knows how to rest, how to adapt, how to let go. The sea doesn't cling to a single wave. It lets each one rise and fade in its time. In that truth lies one of life's simplest lessons. Peace doesn't come from stopping the waves. It comes from learning to float. So as you rest now, imagine that inner ocean within you. The surface may shimmer with passing thoughts, but below it lies a calm so deep it feels endless. Let your awareness sink there, slow, weightless, surrounded by blue quiet. Every breath becomes a tide. Every heartbeat a soft current. The noise of the day fades, and only stillness remains. Because deep down, beneath everything we think we are still part of the sea. We always have been. At night, when the world grows quiet and the waves fall into slow rhythm, the boundary between the sea and the sky begins to blur. The horizon fades. The stars above shimmer faintly. And for a moment, the ocean looks like a reflection of the universe itself. Deep, dark, and full of quiet light. This is where dream and ocean meet in that still space between what is real and what is imagined. Both move in waves. Both drift between clarity and mystery. And both hold the same message, that there is beauty in what we cannot fully know. When you dream, your mind becomes a sea, vast, fluid, and filled with drifting fragments of memory and meaning. Thoughts float like islands. Emotions rise like tides. The deeper you sink into rest, the more the boundaries fade. You begin to feel the same gentle pull that moves the tides, a rhythm older than words, guiding you softly from waking into sleep. In many old traditions, dreams were said to come from the ocean, carried to the sleeping mind by waves of invisible current. The Greeks believed that dreams were delivered by the god Morpheus, who rose from the deep each night to shape visions from mist and water. In Polynesian myth, dreams were seen as journeys across the sea of the spirit, voyages that returned at dawn carrying lessons from beyond. Even today, the language of dreaming is full of water. We drift off, we float away, we sink into sleep. Perhaps that's because dreaming feels like immersion, a gentle descent into an inner ocean where imagination flows freely and time loses its edge. The sea and the mind share this same quality. Finned, they hold everything. Every image, every sound, every fragment of thought finds a place in their depths. The surface may seem still, but beneath it, creation continues, quietly, endlessly. The ocean dreams in color and motion. The mind dreams in memory and feeling. Both give birth to stories that rise, shimmer, and dissolve. In this way, the ocean is the oldest storyteller of all. Its waves are sentences. Its tides are paragraphs. Every ripple, every echo of sound beneath the water carries a fragment of the world's long, slow narrative. It speaks not in words, but in rhythm, the same rhythm that guides our hearts and our breath. When we listen to the ocean, we are reminded of the imagination that created the first myths, the first questions, the first dreams. Long before books or music, there was this sound, the whisper of waves, the endless gentle repetition that lulled humanity into wonder. The sea taught us how to dream before we even had a word for dreaming. And maybe that's why the ocean still feels sacred at night. When you stand near it in the dark, you can sense its awareness. The air is cool, the sound is steady, and beneath the surface, life glows faintly, plankton shining like drifting stars. Everything feels connected, as if the ocean and the sky have agreed to share one dream. If you listen closely enough, you might realize that you are part of that dream too. The same water that moves through the sea moves through you. The same rhythm that stirs the tides beats softly in your chest. You are not standing beside the ocean, you are standing footing within it, a being made of its memory, dreaming it forward with every breath. So as this chapter draws to a close, let the image settle in your mind, an endless horizon, a calm tide, a quiet mind. Above, the stars shimmer like reflections. Below, the deep hums with life. Between them, you float, weightless, timeless, peaceful. The dreaming ocean doesn't ask for understanding. It only invites you to drift, to rest within its vastness, to feel its patience, to listen to the silence between waves. It reminds you that wonder doesn't end when the light fades. It simply changes shape. The sea of dreams is where imagination meets the deep, where the mind returns to its oldest rhythm and the world feels whole again. And as you drift there, surrounded by the slow pulse of water and the distant breath of stars, you might realize something simple and true. The ocean dreams through us, just as we dream through it. Beneath the warm, shallow waters of tropical seas lie worlds of color, so vivid and peaceful that they seem to glow from within. These are the seam coral reefs at the ocean's hidden gardens, alive with pattern and light. They stretch quietly across the sea floor like vast living tapestries, each one a mosaic of shape and movement, built not by time's accident, but by life's design. At first glance, coral looks like stone, solid, motionless, ancient. Each coral is made of countless tiny beings called 15 polypsiphisoft, bodied creatures no bigger than a grain of rice. They live together in enormous colonies, secreting limestone to build their homes. Over years, decades, and centuries, these small architects create entire underwater cities, pillars, towers, arches, and caves, all from the slow, patient work of life. It's almost impossible to comprehend the scale of their achievement. Some coral structures are thousands of years old. The Great Barrier Reef, stretching more than 1,400 miles along Australia's coast, is the largest living structure on Earth, so vast it can be seen from space. Yet every inch of it was built by creatures smaller than your fingertip, working together in perfect, silent harmony. The coral polyps are both builders and artists. They form skeletons of calcium carbonate, then invite color into their world through partnership. Within their tissues live microscopic algae called phytoxanthellae, which provide the corals with both food and radiant color. The algae convert sunlight into energy, feeding their coral hosts and painting them in hues of pink, blue, green, and gold. It's a relationship of symbiosis, two forms of life existing as one, each sustaining the other. If you swim above a reef on a calm day, you can feel the peace of it immediately. The water is clear, the light dances in patterns, and every movement feels deliberate. Schools of fish glide between coral branches like drifting ribbons of silver and yellow. Sea turtles move gracefully across the reef's edge, pausing to graze. Tiny shrimp clean the shells of passing fish, while starfish rest quietly on the coral floor. It is a place without haste, a living system in perfect equilibrium. What's remarkable is how much the world depends on these quiet gardens. Though coral reefs cover less than 1% of the ocean floor, they support a quarter of all marine life. They provide food and shelter to thousands of species, from the smallest plankton to the great reef sharks that patrol their borders. They protect coastlines from waves, nurture the fish that feed billions, and produce oxygen that sustains the air above them. They are the hardy food lungs and the heart of the tropical ocean, fragile, vital, and endlessly creative. Yet for all their brilliance, coral reefs are gentle things. Their beauty depends on balance, the right warmth, the right light, the right rhythm of the sea. When the water grows too hot or polluted, the corals lose their algae, turning pale and fragile in a process called bleaching. It's as if the reef loses its breath. And yet, even in this fragility, there is strength. Some reefs recover, adapting slowly to the changing world. Others create new forms of partnership, learning, in their quiet way, how to survive. Watching a reef is like watching time breathe. Growth happens so slowly you can see it, but over the years it transforms landscapes. Every coral branch is a story of persistence, of countless tiny lives working together in patience. They don't compete, they find cooperate, building beauty through unity. The coral teaches us something gentle yet profound, that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Through the slow, constant act of creation, the reef doesn't rush. It doesn't fight. It builds quietly and continuously, trusting that the world will meet it halfway. So as you imagine this world, the soft sway of coral gardens, the glint of sunlight through clear blue water, the faint hum of life at peace, let yourself feel its rhythm. Every creature here knows when to move and when to rest. Every color, every shape, every sound belongs to the same living harmony. The builders of light are still at work, even now, in silence and patience. They remind us that beauty can grow quietly, one small act at a time, until it becomes something vast and enduring. Imagine descending slowly through warm, clear water. The sunlight fades into patterns of gold, and below you, an entire world begins to appear. A city without walls or sound, alive with movement and color. This is the coral reef, not just a habitat, but a fully living city, built from the harmony of countless species working together. Every corner of the reef serves a purpose. The coral structures form the city's foundations, towering spires, gentle domes, intricate tunnels and alcoves. Between them, the food inhabitants move in constant, graceful motion. Schools of fish weave like ribbons through coral streets, flashing blue and silver as they turn. Small, bright creatures dart between shadows, their colors glowing in the filtered light. Crabs and shrimp clean the reef surfaces, recycling what is no longer needed. Every movement, every sound is part of a rhythm, not chaotic, but coordinated. Each species plays a role in keeping the reef alive. Parrotfish day, with their vivid green and turquoise scales, graze on algae that grow on coral. As they feed, they help the coral breathe, cleaning its surface and preventing overgrowth. Panclina shrimp pea and Rassisite at Rassisac as caretakers, removing parasites from fish that line up patiently for their turn. Say cucumbers sift through the sand, recycling nutrients and keeping the seabed soft and fertile. Even the Sunday sponges, quiet, unmoving, filter thousands of liters of water a day, keeping the reef clear and full of oxygen. It's a system built on foodie cooperation, not competition. Where one species leaves a trace, another follows and transforms it. The reef is not a hierarchy, it's a partnership, a gentle choreography of exchange and renewal. When one creature rests, another begins its work. When one part changes, the whole adjusts, silently and perfectly. And beneath this busy beauty lies a calm intelligence, not conscious in the human sense, but balanced in a way that feels almost mindful. The reef knows how to sustain itself. It listens to the temperature, to the currents, to the light. It grows where the conditions allow, and when the sea changes, it adapts, finding new ways to thrive. The patience of coral is unlike anything else in nature, measured not in minutes or years, but in centuries. To watch a reef closely is to see life expressed as fun collaborations. A predator here is not an enemy, it's a necessary rhythm. When a shark glides through the coral canyons, the smaller fish scatter, but only for a moment. The shark's presence maintains balance, keeping populations healthy, ensuring no species grows too fast. Even in predation there is order, a kind of ancient respect that holds the entire ecosystem steady. The reef soundscape tells its story too. If you listen underwater, you'll hear soft crackles and pops, the sound of shrimp snapping their claws, of fish feeding, of coral breathing. To marine scientists, a healthy reef has a particular hum, a soft, consistent buzz of life. Damaged reefs fall silent, but when they begin to recover, the sound returns, little by little, as if the ocean itself is breathing again. It's easy to forget, from above the surface, how much of the world's calm depends on these hidden cities. They provide food for millions of creatures, shelter from storms, and stability for coastlines. Even the clouds above are influenced by the reefs below, through the way they shape the chemistry of the sea and sky together. The reef doesn't just exist beneath the waves, it helps balance the planet itself. And yet, perhaps their most beautiful quality is their serenity. There are no boundaries here, no noise, no rush, only flow. Each creature moves with purpose, yet without haste. The reef is a city that never stops and never stresses. It grows slowly, changes gently, and teaches quietly. If you imagine yourself there, floating among the coral towers, surrounded by colors you've never seen before, electric blues, deep violets, flashes of silver, you might feel what the reef seems to feel, contentment without motion, life without urgency. The water around you moves softly, light drifts like silk, and everything exists in its perfect place. The reef reminds us that community doesn't need control, only connection. Each being knows its rhythm. Each action supports another. It's a living symphony, played not for survival alone, but for balance. The same balance that keeps the entire ocean breathing in peace. So as you drift through this imagined coral city, let yourself listen. Beneath the beauty, there's a quiet truth that all life shares. We are most alive when we live in harmony, not by striving, but by belonging. There is a moment, when sunlight first touches the shallow sea, that the entire ocean seems to send in hail. The light filters through the surface in ribbons, soft and golden, scattering across the coral below. It bends, slows, and drifts, turning the water into a cathedral of color. The reef awakens, not in sound or movement, but in light itself. Every coral, every shell, every fish becomes part of the soon-breathing spectrum. The blues deepen, the pinks glow, the greens shimmer like silk. Tiny particles of plankton drift through the beams, catching the light like floating dust in a sunlit room. The scene feels both alive and still, motion without noise, beauty without demand. The science of it is simple, yet wondrous. Water absorbs red light first, then orange, then yellow, until only blue and violet can reach the depths. That's why the ocean's true color is blue. It's the last wavelength to fade. But coral reefs live where the light is still full and rich, where all colors blend. The creatures that live here, the fish, the algae, the coral themselves, have evolved to synpaint with light reflecting and refracting it in countless ways. Some fish wear colors that shift as they move, scales catching sunlight like small mirrors. Others seem to glow from within, their hues created not by pigment, but by the microscopic structure of their skin, bending light into new shades the human eye can barely describe. Even the sand beneath the reef reflects pale gold through the water, adding warmth to the world above it. To the corals, light is life. The tiny algae that live inside them, their symbiotic partners, transform sunlight into nourishment, feeding the reef and releasing oxygen. In return, the coral gives them shelter. It's a relationship so delicate that even a change of a few degrees in water temperature can alter the balance, dimming the colors until the reef turns pale. And yet, when conditions return to harmony, the colors bloom again, as though the reef exhales and fills with light once more. In this dance between light and life, there's no conflict, only adaptation. The ocean doesn't hoard the sunlight, it shares it. Every beam is passed along, from the surface to the algae, from the algae to the coral, from the coral to the fish that feed among its branches. Energy becomes color, color becomes life, and life becomes rhythm. What's truly peaceful is the finty patience of light down here. Unlike the land where shadows shift quickly and days pass in sharp motion, the light beneath the surface moves slowly, almost dreamlike. It bends and sways with the waves, softening every edge. It paints the coral not in flashes but in pulses, like breathing, like the heartbeat of the sea. If you could float here, surrounded by this quiet radiance, you would see how everything fits together. The fish aren't separate from the coral, they are its movement. The light isn't separate from the water, it's its language. The color isn't decoration, it's life expressing itself in peace. There is no rush, no tension, only presence. The reef doesn't strive to be beautiful, it's simply fortuny. Its colors change not to attract, but to exist, to balance the energy between water, light, and time. Even the smallest flicker of movement feels intentional, as though the ocean itself were painting the moment for you, one slow brushstroke at a time. Some divers say that when they hover silently above a reef, they can feel the world breathing with them. The water moves gently in and out, the fish sway with the current, and their own breath, slow and steady through the mask, becomes part of the same rhythm. It's not just observation, it's participation. The beauty of the reef is not something to see, but something to join. This is what harmony looks like beneath the waves, light, color, and life existing, not in competition, but in flow. Each particle of light that touches the reef carries both warmth and calm, energy and peace in perfect proportion. So as you imagine this now, let the picture form in your mind, a quiet blue world alive with drifting color. Sunlight slides down in gentle beams. Coral fans wave slowly, fish shimmer in arcs of gold and violet. Nothing hurries, nothing struggles. Everything moves as it should. The reef breathes. The light breathes, the sea breathes. And you too breathe, softly, deeply, in rhythm with the ocean's calm. If you look closely at a coral reef, you can see time itself, built layer upon layer, breath upon breath, by creatures so small and patient that their work becomes invisible to the eye. Each curve of coral, each glowing surface, is a story of endurance, 1,000 generations of life stacked gently on one another, surviving through calm and storm alike. And yet, for all its beauty, the reef's strength comes from its effete delicacy. It thrives only when the world around it stays in balance, when the sunlight is soft, the water is clear, the temperature just right, a few degrees too warm, and the colors fade, a shadow too long, and the growth slows. It is a reminder that harmony is not stillness, but keen attention, the ongoing act of listening to the world's quiet signals and moving with them. When the coral loses its color, what we call bleaching, it isn't the sound of collapse. It's the sound of the ocean asking for care. It's the reef's way of pausing, of protecting itself, waiting for the world to cool again. If the balance returns, the life does too. Color flows back into the coral, like breath, returning to a resting body. Slowly, patiently, the reef rebuilds. This patience is its wisdom. The reef doesn't give up. It see. It adapts, changes and heals, just as the ocean has done for eons. It teaches us that life is not a straight line of growth and loss, but a series of cycles, of brightness and dimming, of expansion and rest. If the ocean has a lesson for us here, it's one of twin-sandal stewardship, the understanding that small actions repeated with care create vast beauty over time. Coral polyps build their homes one grain at a time. The fish keep the balance through movement, the currents through rhythm, the light through patience. Nothing dominates, everything contributes. Perhaps this is why watching a reef feels like meditation. It reminds us that strength doesn't always mean resistance. Sometimes it means surrendering gracefully to what is, trusting that harmony will return. The reef does not panic when the tide changes. It adjusts. It bends with the current, sways with the light, and continues its slow work beneath the waves. Every being on the reef, from the smallest worm to the drifting turtle, lives according to this quiet truth, that the existence is shared, not owned. The ocean doesn't belong to its creatures, it includes them, just as it includes us. If we listen carefully, the reef speaks in rhythm, not in words. It says, "Fidi, be gentle with what grows slowly. Fin, protect what thrives in stillness. Fin, move in balance, and the world will move with you." When you think of coral now, don't imagine fragility as weakness. Think of it as the sudi art of balance sea, the strength to exist only in harmony with the world. The reef endures not by overpowering, but by belonging, and that belonging is what makes it eternal. So as you imagine the hidden gardens of the sea, see them as mirrors of your own inner life, the delicate parts that bloom when tended with patience, the quiet thoughts that grow when the noise fades, the calm that returns when you breathe in rhythm with the world. In the end, the coral reef is not just a structure of stone and color, it's a memory of cooperation, of countless small lives forming one continuous beauty. It teaches us that peace is not the absence of change, but the balance within it. The ocean holds these lessons softly, never demanding to be heard, only waiting for us to listen. And when we do, we find that its wisdom has been ours all along. Grow slowly, live gently, shine quietly. Because the most beautiful things in this world, like the reef, like the sea, are built not in noise or speed, but in patience and care. The ocean never stops moving. Even when the surface looks still, when the air is calm and the waves seem to sleep, the water beneath continues its slow, ancient journey, rising, falling, turning, and returning. This is the quinpulse of the planet, the endless rhythm that has guided life since the beginning of time. The tides are the most visible heartbeat of that rhythm. They rise and fall with perfect patience, twice each day, drawn by the pull of the moon and the sun. Long before clocks or calendars, the ocean already knew how to keep time. Its schedule is written in gravity itself, an invisible dance between the Earth and its companions in space. When the tide comes in, it carries life with it. Drifting plankton, seeds from distant shores, fragments of coral, the scent of the open sea. When it retreats, it leaves behind patterns in the sand, small pools where life continues in miniature, tiny crabs, snails, and fish, waiting quietly for the next return. Each wave leaves a trace of connection between what is here and what is far away. There is no rush in this cycle. The sea doesn't race toward the shore, nor does it resist leaving it. It moves in harmony with the pull of the universe. Inhalation and exhalation, over and over again. Watching the tide is like listening to the planet breathe. It reminds us that rhythm isn't repetition. Each wave is different, yet every one belongs to the same song. The tide doesn't fear change. It trusts the balance. It knows that what goes out will always return. That loss is only temporary. That movement is life itself. This quiet faith is what keeps the ocean alive through every storm and calm. For the creatures who live within its rhythm, this pulse is everything. The Grunion fisher, for instance, comes ashore to lay its eggs only at the highest tide, guided by the moon's pull. Mangrove trees drop their seedlings into the water at just the right moment, letting the tide carry them to new shores. Sea turtles time their migrations and hatchings by the lunar cycle, aligning their journeys with the same invisible rhythm. Every motion, every breath, every act of life is tied to this steady pulse, a connection so deep it transcends awareness. Even we, without realizing it, move to the ocean's rhythm. Our bodies contain its water. Our hearts beat in waves. Our breath rises and falls like the tide. If you've ever walked along a beach and felt a strange calm, it's because your body recognizes this pattern. The waves move at a pace close to the rhythm of the resting human heart. Slow, steady, familiar. The sea speaks the same language our bodies once learned long ago, when life first began in the water. The ocean's renewal is constant, but never hurried. It doesn't repair or replace. It renews, transforming what was into what will be. A wave that crashes on the shore becomes foam, then vapor, then cloud, then rain, and finally ocean again. Nothing is ever truly gone, only reshaped. The sea is proof that endings and beginnings are part of the same motion. To sit by the water and watch the tide is to watch the world remember itself. Each wave is a small reminder that return is inevitable, that nothing is truly lost, only waiting to flow back. The ocean's pulse has no beginning and no end. It is the same motion that carried the first spark of life, the same that will continue long after we are gone. It doesn't ask for understanding, it simply exists, a rhythm as eternal as gravity, as soft as breath. So as you imagine the tide now, let its rhythm guide your own. Inhale with the wave as it rises. Exhale as it falls. Feel how natural that is, how familiar, how ancient. You are part of the same pattern, moving in quiet harmony with the sea. And just like the ocean, your life will keep renewing, with every breath, every thought, every calm return. Every drop of water that touches the earth has lived 1,000 lives. It has drifted in the clouds, fallen as rain, gathered in rivers, and returned to the sea. It has frozen into glaciers, melted into streams, and been breathed by every living thing. The ocean doesn't just hold water, it holds some of the story of all movement, an eternal loop that connects everything that exists. This is the 4D water cycle, creation's quiet engine. It never stops, never rests, never rushes. It is the planet's soft machinery, powered by sunlight and time. Every second, somewhere, water is rising, falling, changing shape, yet never truly leaving the world. When sunlight touches the ocean's surface, it lifts water upward as vapor, invisible yet full of life. The sea exhales, releasing its breath into the sky. The vapor cools, gathers, and becomes clouds, floating oceans of air, drifting gently above the world. When they grow heavy, they release their gift back to the land, rain. It falls on forests, mountains, and deserts alike, soaking into the soil, filling rivers that flow again toward the sea. In this way, every river is FT, the ocean returning to itself. Every raindrop is a traveler coming home. The system is ancient, perfect, and deeply peaceful. There is no waste, no loss, only change. What leaves will return, and what returns will one day rise again. The cycle is a rhythm, so vast we rarely feel it consciously, but it shapes every part of life. The air we breathe is softened by the sea's moisture. The food we eat is nourished by the rain that began as ocean mist. Even the water within us, in our blood, our breath, our cells, is part of this same timeless exchange. The ocean flows through us, not as a metaphor, but as truth. It's easy to think of the water cycle as mechanical, a simple process of evaporation and rain. But to watch it closely, to truly observe it, is to see a kind of gracie. The sea doesn't demand to give or take, it simply flows. It transforms without resistance, changes without fear, and continues without end. This transformation holds a quiet lesson. Every phase of water has its own beauty: the shimmer of vapor in sunlight, the weight of clouds before a storm, the stillness of a lake, the power of a wave. None of these states are permanent, and none are failures. The water doesn't mourn what it was, it embraces what it becomes. Our thoughts rise, drift, and return, like vapor to rain. Our emotions flow in cycles, calm, intense, and calm again. We change forms constantly, but we remain part of the same rhythm, the same whole. Like water, we are never truly lost. We are simply moving through phases of being. The ocean's renewal is not loud or visible. It's subtle, patient, continuous. It carries minerals across continents, balances temperature, and cleanses the air we breathe. Its rhythm feeds forests, nourishes rivers, and sustains every living thing. Through it, the planet maintains homeostasis, a living balance so perfect that it feels invisible. To the ocean, this is not work. It is its nature. The sea doesn't strive to renew the world. It simply does. It breathes in sunlight, exhales rain, and accepts everything that returns. Its stillness is movement, and its movement is peace. If you sit quietly and imagine this cycle, vapor rising, clouds drifting, rain falling, rivers flowing, waves returning, you can feel the planet's breath within your own. Inhale, the water rises. Exhale, it falls again. A pattern that began long before us and will continue long after still flows through you now. This is the circle of water, the ocean's way of reminding the world that nothing is wasted and everything is connected. It is the softest engine imaginable, one that turns through time not with fire or force, but with patience, with grace, with the simple wisdom of flow. So as you breathe now, imagine yourself within that circle, part of the endless exchange between sea and sky, earth and life. Every drop, every breath, every moment is a continuation, not an end. And like the water, you too are in motion, always returning, always renewing, always alive. When storms pass over the sea, the surface roars, waves crash, winds rise, and the ocean seems to lose its calm. But beneath all that motion, the deep remains still, untouched, patient, steady. And when the storm ends, the surface slowly returns to that same stillness, as though nothing ever happened. This is the ocean's greatest gift. Night's rhythm heals itself. Every current, every wave, every rise and fall serves a purpose, stirring oxygen, redistributing nutrients, and restoring balance. What looks like chaos is often renewal in disguise. After a storm, the water that was churned and clouded settles once again into clarity. Nutrients from the depths rise to the surface, feeding plankton and coral. Fish return to their patterns, and the sea breathes easily again. The storm is not an interruption, it is part of the rhythm, a reminder that renewal often comes after disturbance, not in its absence. The same is true of life. Our calm doesn't exist because nothing changes, it exists because we learn to return to it. Just like the ocean, we are shaped by our capacity to settle after the waves have passed. The rhythm of recovery, of returning, of softening, is what keeps both the sea and the self alive. Even at the smallest scales, this rhythm continues. Every second, in the depths of the ocean, new life begins. Tiny plankton bloom, feeding fish and coral. Old matter drifts downward where it becomes nourishment for creatures below. Death here is not an end, but a full transformation, the return of energy to the cycle that made it. If you could speed up time and watch the ocean's movements unfold like a film, you'd see an endless dance of renewal. Coral regrowing, sand shifting, kelp forests bending and rising again. The sea never stays the same, yet it never feels lost. It heals by continuing, not by stopping. The creatures of the ocean understand this instinctively. The Fusi AC star, when broken, grows new arms. The Fusi coral polyp, when damaged, begins again from the edges. The Fu mangrove, when uprooted, sends out new roots, holding the shore once more. The ocean's rhythm of healing is not frantic. It is hind-circular. Each loss creates space for growth. Each wave that retreats makes way for the next. When you look at the ocean after a storm, you can still see evidence of what's past. Driftwood on the sand, foam in the shallows, traces of movement along the shore. But even these remnants are part of renewal. The salt air cleanses, the waves smooth what was rough, and soon the beach looks untouched again. The same principle lives within us. The mind, like the ocean, holds both turbulence and peace. Thoughts rise, emotions stir, but the deep self, the steady awareness beneath, remains calm. Healing begins not when the waves disappear, but when we remember the stillness below them. The ocean doesn't resist its storms. It doesn't tense or fight back. It lets the energy move through it, knowing that calm will return. That patience is its wisdom, and perhaps ours too. Scientists have found that the sound of waves naturally slows our breathing and heart rate, synchronizing them with the sea's rhythm. The body relaxes as if recognizing something familiar, an echo of the womb, the first ocean we ever knew. This is why standing near the sea feels like healing. Even when we don't understand why, the body remembers. The soul does too. The ocean heals by flow, by movement, by release. It doesn't cling to what was or fear what's coming. It trusts the cycle, storm, calm, renewal, as the only way forward. In that trust lies peace. So as you imagine the sea now, picture its surface after the storm, sunlight returning, waves softening, the scent of salt and rain in the air below. Life resumes, calm and continuous. Everything moves in balance again. Let that image settle into your thoughts. You, like the ocean, can return to stillness. You can let the storm pass. You can heal not by holding, but by sudi flowing. The rhythm that restores the sea is the same rhythm that restores you. Patient, constant, eternal. Somewhere right now, a wave that began 1,000 miles away is touching the shore. It curls, folds, and fades, its journey ending where another will begin. The ocean does not mourn the wave that breaks, because it knows the truth of all things that flow. Nothing is ever truly lost. Every drop that falls, every tide that retreats, every calm that follows the storm, they are all part of the same infinite motion. This is the ocean's promise, that what leaves will return, that what ends will begin again. Its rhythm is the planet's way of remembering itself. In the deep, far below the light, ancient currents move like invisible threads, connecting every sea on Earth. Warm waters rise, cool waters sink, and together they circulate the ocean's breath, a cycle that takes hundreds, sometimes thousands of years to complete. When one current slows, another begins. When one path closes, another opens. The ocean is always finding a way forward. This movement is not just physical, it's spiritual. It mirrors the quiet resilience that exists in every form of life. Seeds fall and grow again. Forests burn and return in green. Even the stars live, collapse, and shine once more. The ocean holds all of it, flowing through time with patience that feels eternal. Perhaps that's why it calms us, because in its motion, we recognize something of ourselves. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought is part of the same endless return. We are never static. We are always becoming, always flowing, always finding balance again. The ocean doesn't hurry its renewal. It doesn't resist the tide. It knows that every motion serves the whole, that change is not loss, but continuation. Its wisdom is one of Tentrin Trustisti, a deep, quiet confidence that what belongs will always find its way back. You can see this promise in the smallest things, in the foam that fades and reforms, in the sand that drifts and settles, in the wind that carries salt across the air. Every moment is part of the same rhythm, connecting past and present, life and rest, giving and receiving. To the ocean, there is no final ending. There is only transformation, water into vapor, vapor into rain, rain into river, river into sea. Even when the shore seems empty, the tide is already on its way home, and so it is with us. We lose, we change, we pause, we grow. But deep within there is always the current, that quiet pull toward renewal, the unbroken thread that keeps us connected to everything we've ever been. The ocean doesn't teach with words, it teaches with rhythm. It whispers that peace is not something to be found, it is something to be remembered. It reminds us that stillness is not the absence of movement, but the harmony within it, that endings are not stops, but turns, soft bends in the eternal flow. If you listen closely, you can hear that rhythm even now, a slow, steady pulse, the sound of the world breathing. The waves rise and you inhale, the waves fall and you exhale. The sea and you are one motion, ancient, patient, infinite. As this chapter comes to rest, imagine yourself floating in that rhythm. No resistance, no separation, just the soft hum of continuity all around you. The tide moves, the current drifts, and within it, everything you are continues, calm, whole, and timeless. Because in the ocean, nothing ends, it simply fiery turns. And now, as the last waves fade into stillness, the ocean rests again. Its surface reflects the stars, calm and endless, the same stars that once guided sailors, dreamers, and those who simply stood at the shore, listening. Every story we've drifted through tonight, the whales that sing in the deep, the coral that builds in silence, the tides that rise and fall without end, they are all part of one truth. The ocean never stops breathing, and neither do we. It has carried life through time, through change, through calm and storm alike, renewing itself in every tide, remembering everything it has ever touched. Even now, as you rest, its rhythm moves quietly beneath the world, slow, steady, eternal. The sea reminds us that stillness doesn't mean silence. It means harmony, the perfect balance between motion and rest. It tells us that every ending is a return, that peace is not the absence of movement, but the space within it. So let yourself drift now. Let your thoughts float like the tide, rising and falling softly. Let your breath match the sea's rhythm, in and out, calm and calm again. Somewhere out there, a wave begins its journey toward the shore. It may take minutes, hours, or days to arrive, but it will. It always does. Because that's what the ocean knows. Everything returns, in time. And as you close your eyes, you are part of that return. The world grows quiet. The water moves gently. The ocean still breathes. And so do you.